that didn't exist before. They are ignoring it, and this is where all of the money is flowing to. And I will prove it to you by the end of this presentation. In fact, there are already regular everyday people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and even 50s who have never had a business before, taking advantage of this opportunity to make more than doctors, starting from scratch. And a lot of my insights, by the way, come from the fact that I'm the co-owner of a company where our users are currently earning about $140 million a month from digital products. You see, I have a previously undisclosed reason to share all the fine details of this opportunity with you. It was in this exact industry that I personally built my fortune. I have been selling digital products for over 7 years at this point. I created one of the most successful digital products ever, Agency Navigator, and went on to make almost $100 million from digital products today. I have documented this entire journey on my YouTube channel. You can literally see my videos from 9 years ago when I was a clueless 16-year-old living with my single mom. And all of that goes hand in hand with this undisclosed reason of mine, which is because I am biased. Through the small fortune I built from digital products, I can now invest and acquire bigger enterprise companies. One of my most recent acquisitions is Consultant.com, previously owned by Sam Ovens and Ryan Doris. And this is where I really make my money. And this is basically my day job these days. We are the #1 advisory firm in the world for people who sell digital products. The minimum price to become a client of ours is $25,000. But I've had clients paying me upwards of $50,000, $100,000, all the way up to even $250,000 to work with us. So my secret motive here with this challenge is very simple. If I show these strategies to 1 million people here and 0.1% of them actually apply them, succeed, and decide to become one of our advisory clients at Consultant.com, well, that is at minimum an extra $25 million in revenue for the business. So yeah, it's fair to say I have a pretty good incentive in teaching you guys what actually works here. But my biggest investment to date has been in becoming a co-owner at WAP. In case you didn't know, WAP is the fastest growing digital product platform in the world. To make things easy to understand, it's basically Shopify for digital products. WAP is the best way to publish a digital product because it's quick and it's free to do so, unlike other platforms. Hence, a major reason I invested in it. And our users have earned over $1.6 billion from their digital products through WAP. Let me just put it into perspective how much that is. If you took that $1.6 billion and converted it to $100 bills, it would create a stack of cash over 1.75 kilometers tall. That is 4 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other. Or think about it this way. If you earned $100,000 per year, it would take you 16,000 years to earn $1.6 billion. That is longer than all of recorded human civilization. That is how much our users have earned from their digital products at WAP. And as a co-owner, I get paid a very small percentage of all the digital product sales people make on the platform. So if you make money, I make money. So from all angles, it is in my best interest to show you exactly how these people are making so much money on our platform every single day from this opportunity. And I'm giving you all of that completely free through the most actionable content you will get this quarter here over the next 3 days. Now, obviously, I'm aware that there's always that 0.44% of people who see how massive an opportunity this is and will want to move faster. So in a later episode, for those who want to move faster and work more closely with me, we'll be making an incredible offer. And I'm just giving you a heads up on that right here on today's live training. The only 2 things I'm going to say about it for now are, number 1, you're going to get a chance to compete for $350,000 in prizes, including a Patek Philippe, 4 Rolexes, 5 Cartiers, and 10 tickets to my $25,000 mastermind to be in a room with people who collectively earn hundreds of millions of dollars a year from digital products. And number 2, this will be an even better opportunity than the one I opened last time, through which our clients earned $8.9 million in tracked earnings in just 90 days. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that here because we have a lot to cover in today's session. That's why I created a waitlist group where I'm going to share all the information about this offer. I will leave a link for it below later. And regardless whether you take this option or not, just with the content of this 3-day challenge, you will be able to launch your first digital product easier than ever using AI. Now, let's get into the content of this challenge. And let me have a nice little sip of tea. You see, for each one of our sessions of the Make Money Online Challenge 2.0, I want to give you a very clear and tangible target that we're going to achieve together, so that by the end of each session, we can go back to that target and ask ourselves, okay, did we achieve it or not? For today, the target is very, very simple. After today's session, you are never going to be able to not spot opportunities again. You'll be scrolling through Instagram, YouTube, and you will be able to see opportunities everywhere. Today, I'm going to open your eyes to something that you have been blind to so far, and you will never see things the same way again. Just this awareness alone is going to make you more capable than anything else I can do for you right now when it comes to making money. Because if you didn't know what a $100 bill looked like, you would have no idea that it was valuable in the first place. You would just think that it's this piece of paper with some funny dude's face on it. So even if I gave you a million $100 bills, you would just be like, what the hell is this? Throw this trash away, all right? But the moment you become aware that this is money and it's worth 100 buying units, now all of a sudden you value it. Well, a lot of what you're seeing out there is the equivalent of these $100 bills and not being aware that this is actual money. So what I'm going to do today in this training is I will make you aware of these things. And once you are aware of them, you're going to see how profitable they actually are. So today we're going to cover 4 critical things. Number 1, the 3 criteria framework to spot the best wealth building models. Number 2, the 3-step system that allows you to combine AI with digital products to get your first product created even without any expertise or showing your face online. Number 3, one simple exercise that all the people who succeed with this go through. And 4th, we will finish off with the one known little piece of economic science that reveals the exact timing of a massive wealth creation opportunity. And by the end of today, you're either going to be 100% convinced that this is your path forward, or you'll know exactly why it's not for you. Either way, you're going to have clarity. So if I can show you in a very simple and straightforward way, A, how to recognize the best wealth building opportunities, and B, position yourself to take advantage of this AI revolution and act with minimal risk, will you commit to giving it a try, even if it takes a bit of hard work, especially if it makes it realistic for you to make your first 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 online using AI without having to risk your current income or your savings. So go ahead and drop a deal below if you are ready to learn how to build your first digital product with AI. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into part 1. So let's start with the 3 criteria framework to spot the right wealth building models. Here is the first thing you need to understand, and most successful people never admit this. 50% of success, if I'm being honest with you, is timing. It's basically being in the right place at the right time. And we already know that AI opened the perfect timing window for us. So as long as you position yourself to take advantage of AI, you're already halfway to success, which is great, by the way. Now, the other 50% is having the right model, and you really need to understand this. AI is not going to make you money on its own, okay? You need to plug it into a money-making model. Just like electricity doesn't make money on its own, but plug it into the right system, like a factory or a computer, and then suddenly it becomes incredibly valuable. So the real question is this: is there a model that we can plug into AI that allows us to risk practically nothing, yet still create life-changing income and do it quickly? I believe there is. And if you can understand this framework to spot the best models and you apply it, whether that's to digital products or to any other industry that you get into, you will be successful. The best money-making models all have 3 criteria. The first is recognition. That means you can see the opportunity before the masses do. There's always a small window between being too early or being too late. Let me give you a perfect example with Bitcoin. If you had bought $500 in Bitcoin back in January 2013, you would have $4.4 million today. Life-changing money, right? But here's where things get even crazier. If you had bought that same $500 in June, only 6 months later, you would now have $458,000 today. And 6 months later again, $78,000. Only 6 months reduce your potential returns from $4.4 million to $458,000. Another 6 months from $458,000 to $78,000. By the way, still an incredible return for sure, but far from the life-changing millions people imagine when they say, oh, I wish I bought Bitcoin early. This is how fast that these timing windows can close. The people who get rich are the ones who recognize the opportunity during that narrow window. And right now we are at the perfect timing window with AI, and I will prove it to you shortly. Now, our second criterion is high reward. That means unlimited upside potential. Most people are stuck in linear income models, like a job where you trade time for money. It's linear and it's also capped. Work more hours, make a little bit more money, but there is a ceiling to it. Same with most businesses. Most are capped by physical constraints. If you have a restaurant, you can only sell to people in your area. That is not a high reward opportunity. What we are looking for here is the word scalability, something with digital delivery. So there are no physical constraints. Global reach, so you are not dependent on location. Automated systems, so it's not dependent on your time. If the opportunity at hand allows you to combine these three scalability markers, you are onto a high reward model. The third criterion is low risk. That means that you can test it out without risking everything that you have. And for me, I think this is so important when you're a beginner at anything. Here's the problem with most great opportunities throughout history. They had a massive barrier, or sorry, I should say they had massive barriers that kept regular everyday people out. Take the Bitcoin example, okay? To invest into it back in 2014, you would have had to navigate underground forums, figure out wallet addresses, private keys, cold wallets, not to mention that putting 10K into Bitcoin back then was incredibly risky. Or let's take dropshipping back in 2017. Regular people were quitting their 9-to-5s and making decent income with it, sure. But when you check the criteria, recognition, check, the opportunity looked incredible. High reward, check, teenagers were making 10K a month from their bedrooms. But low risk, this is where it fell apart again. You had to deal with suppliers disappearing overnight, shipping delays that made customers furious, and chargebacks that could shut down your payment processor. And you also had to master Facebook ads, which meant burning through thousands of dollars, okay? It wasn't easy. So when people say, oh, you should have done dropshipping when it was easy, what they're really trying to tell you is you should have learned advanced marketing, risked thousands on ads, and somehow predicted which suppliers wouldn't screw you over. The truth is, just like Bitcoin, dropshipping wasn't accessible to regular people. It was accessible to people who already had money, connections, and business experience. And that is why our ideal scenario here is high upside potential with minimal downside risk. That is what separates real opportunities from beginner traps. Now, here's the reality check. Most models only have one or two of these criteria, and you need to understand these patterns. High reward plus recognizable usually equals high risk, like real estate or stocks. Low risk plus high reward is usually hard to recognize, like early crypto or the early internet. Okay, recognizable plus low risk usually equals low reward, like savings accounts or traditional jobs. The holy grail here is finding a model that has all three criteria simultaneously. And right now we are at a tipping point. For the first time ever, there is one model that fits all three criteria, making it realistic for regular people. There's already everyday people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond who are plugging AI into this model to get paid as much as doctors. We are in that sweet spot between too early, okay, this technology wasn't ready or wasn't available a year ago, and too late when everyone will already know about this. But here's what most people don't understand about these timing windows like these. Once you gain the advantage, it stays gained. Once you miss it, you're locked out. I mean, think about Amazon. When they got customers to put their credit cards in and create an account during the early internet days, they won those customers forever. Those customers didn't go back to shopping at physical stores when everyone else caught up to e-commerce. It's the same principle here. The people who take advantage of this model now, while the window is open, won't lose their advantage when others catch up. They will have first mover positioning in their markets, revenue streams that actually compound over time, and skills and systems that accelerate their next products. But the people who wait, they will, when they do try to actually finally enter these markets, they're going to be competing against people who have had months or years to establish themselves. It's like trying to compete with Amazon when you were starting an e-commerce store today. Possible, maybe, but infinitely harder. So let me explain to you what this model actually is. It takes advantage of digital products, which is what I consider to be the most profitable industry in the world. Because the thing with digital products is that they cost practically nothing to fulfill and distribute. Now, normally, I wouldn't even dare consider telling you to get into digital products because this would usually be a very high barrier to entry business, especially for beginners. But because of these very unusual circumstances that AI has actually created, it forces me to show this to you. You see, education, and really think about this, like this is actually insane when you think about this. Education is the only one of the big 5 industries that's yet to be disrupted. Airbnb disrupted travel. Uber disrupted transportation. Online banks disrupted banking. E-com disrupted commerce. But education is the only one of the big five that is yet to suffer a big change. And every single time a disruption this big happened, those who position themselves in the right place accumulated generational levels of wealth. And AI is about to cause the biggest of all of these disruptions right before our eyes, yet most people are way too distracted to see it. Just so you understand, AI basically made what historically has been the hardest part of this business the easiest. So if I can show you a way that I have discovered to combine digital products with artificial intelligence, so that way you can take advantage of the most profitable online business model as a beginner, my question to you is, are you down to learn about it? Especially if this means establishing a permanent position that others easily can't take away from you. This model is what I call non-expert digital products. Now, before I even explain what non-expert digital products are, what actually is a digital product in the first place? Because people try to overcomplicate this way too much. It's very simple, okay? For a product to be considered a digital product, it just needs to follow this rule. It needs to be created and delivered completely digitally. That's it. So with that definition, does that mean that a Kindle book is a digital product? Yes, a Kindle book is a digital product. It's created and delivered digitally, so it's a digital product. Can a Notion template be considered a digital product? Yes, a Notion template is also created and delivered digitally, so that is also a digital product. Can this 50-page PDF meal guide be considered a digital product? Well, of course, because it's a PDF. It's delivered entirely digitally. No physical shipping, no inventory, just information delivered through your computer. What about this woodworking guide? Is this a digital product? Yes, for the same reason as the above, a PDF that was created once and can be sold an infinite number of times. There are people who sell Premiere editing templates, product mockups for Photoshop. I even know that on WAP right now, we've got this guy who sells Fortnite maps. Those are all digital products. The possibilities are pretty much endless. These are all digital products. There's thousands of topics you can choose from, and I will show you exactly how to do that. The most important thing to understand here is all you need to do is find one single topic to monetize, one digital product. All we're doing here is we are monetizing topics. You just need to get your topic right once to hit anywhere from 10,000 to upwards of anywhere from 1,000 to upwards of $10,000 per month. Just like the guy I mentioned who made $8,000 in the last 30 days with Fortnite maps without even showing his face. In total, he has made over $78,000 from the single digital product. And I know you're probably thinking, but how do I even find these topics? I don't know anything about them. Don't worry, we're gonna cover all of that in the challenge, all in due time, my friend. Now, more importantly, this is the best type of product there is to sell. It's something you can create once and you can sell it forever and ever and ever without any additional cost. And this is where you may ask, what about the last criterion, low risk? I mean, wouldn't digital products require you to spend years learning and developing to become to have expertise? Well, this is where AI changes the whole industry. I mean, think about it. What is AI actually best at? Processing and organizing information. That is the very definition of expertise. Being able to process and organize information about a topic effectively. So it is a perfect match. If you truly look around, everyone who's successful making money online today, what are they selling? Digital products. I mean, literally everyone. They might even say that they do something else, okay? But when you actually dig deep enough, they also have a digital product, and that's where most of their real money comes from. And by the way, I'm the same. Back in May, I broke a record for most cash collected in 24 hours, 7 days, and 30 days on our payment processing platform, WAP. In fact, I actually even have an official letter here signed by Steven, the CEO of WAP, stating that I indeed broke all these records. And you know what I was selling? You guessed it, a digital product. So do you think that that's a coincidence? Everyone who's successful online, do you think it's a coincidence that everyone who's successful online today is selling the very same thing? Of course not. All these people realized that is where the market is moving to. So they have taken advantage of this closing window of opportunity. Now, here's the big inflection point of this industry though. Up until 6 months ago, this business model was strictly reserved to a very small group of people, the ones that had lots of expertise in a high value topic. And it is the big catch-22 of this entire industry, right? Why would you be watching this here today if you already had a high value skill or knowledge that you can monetize online? You probably wouldn't, right? If you are here, it's because most likely you don't possess that. But then if you don't possess that, well, then you can't get into this industry. So it just becomes this like endless loop. And that is the exact loop that was broken by AI. By combining AI with digital products, you can create what I call non-expert digital products. And this concept completely changes this industry. From everything I'll talk about during this entire challenge, if you had to pick one thing to keep, this would be it. If you can understand this concept, you can create a profitable, scalable online business, whether it's your first time getting into this industry or if you're doing it on the side of your already existing job. So let me explain what non-expert digital products are. Non-expert digital products are digital products that don't require you to be the expert. Instead, AI becomes the expert for you. Non-expert digital products flip the value dynamic of digital products completely. The value comes from the solution, not from who is providing it. It's like the difference between needing to be a master chef to open a restaurant versus having a robot chef that already knows every recipe in the world. You do not need to be the chef. You just need to serve the food. Do you see how this isn't just a better way to create digital products, but rather a completely different category? Traditional digital products are about what are you an expert in? Non-expert digital products are about what problems do people need solved? Do you see how this makes it the most incredible opportunity available right now? Since you don't need to be an expert anymore to get into the most profitable industry in the world. And I'm going to show you real life examples of non-expert digital products killing it in just a minute. Going back to our 3 high reward markers, digital delivery. The entire product is delivered digitally, automatically, without you having to touch a button. You just create the product once and you can sell it thousands of times with the same effort it would take to sell once. All of that at zero marginal cost. Selling to 10 people costs the same as selling to 10,000 people. Global reach, well, since the delivery happens digitally, you can sell it to any place in the entire world and your customer gets the products instantly, no matter where they are. Automated systems, with a platform like WAP, the product gets delivered automatically in an instant without you having to move a finger. All of that for free and super easy to set up, meaning how much you make has no correlation to how much time you work. Once a product is built, you don't need to put more work to make more money. Do you know any other model that allows you to do that? To scale your sales exponentially without scaling your demand for delivery. Every barrier that stopped you before has now been eliminated. Expertise barrier? Well, it's gone. AI has access to all human knowledge. You don't need to be an expert. Technical barrier? Gone. AI builds the product for you. No technical skills needed. The capital barrier? Well, that's gone as well. You can build your first non-expert digital product for less than $100. Authority barrier? Gone. Faceless, anonymous creators are thriving with non-expert digital products. The value comes from the solution and not who is selling it. Creation barrier? Gone. You can create multiple non-expert digital products across different topics. If one doesn't work, then you just create another one in hours, not months. And here is proof that the market is hungry for digital products. Just in the last 30 days alone, more than 626,000 people have bought at least one digital product on WAP. Now, here's the very interesting part. The number of people selling digital products, less than 10,000. Meaning, there's a huge demand gap between the demand for digital products and the people actually creating them. That is a 62-to-1 buyer to seller ratio. When have you ever seen such demand outstrip supply by that much? This market is already experiencing exponential growth. And when this new wave of non-expert digital products really hits, things are going to the moon. And this is the first time in internet history that an opportunity has scored perfect on all 3 criteria: opportunity recognition, high reward, and low risk. And it is the first time that being a complete beginner is actually an advantage. Doesn't that get you excited? Now that you understand the 3 criteria framework to spot the best wealth building models, and I've introduced you to non-expert digital products, the first opportunity to have all 3 criteria, let me ask you this. If I can prove to you with concrete examples that complete beginners are succeeding every single day with non-expert digital products, and that being a beginner is actually an advantage here, will you commit here to me that you will actually take advantage of this, even if it takes hard work and a little bit of mental effort? Type non-expert if you are ready to stop being a spectator and start being a participant. And as you do that, I'm gonna have a sip of tea. Sorry guys, I get a little worked up sometimes. I'm intense because I see it firsthand, okay? Obviously being a co-owner in WAP and also buyingconsultant.com, I see it firsthand every single day. This market is, in my 10 years of business, I've never seen a market that fulfills all of these criteria, and a market that is so prime, that's already booming, but this is gonna be exponential. As I said, this is the one market that has not been revolutionized, okay? And when that happens, all I can say is the people here, the 80-ish thousand people watching live right now, you've made a great decision because you are in the best market that you could ever be in. Now, remember I said we're going to cover these 4 things here today. We just finished the first one, the 3 criteria framework. This was by far the longest and most boring part. So congratulations, you made it through the most challenging part already, where more than half of people have probably dropped off. So you are already far from the average. Now, the real fun begins. We're about to uncover the 3-step system that complete beginners are using to create non-expert digital products that generate anywhere from $2,000 to $15,000 per month. People with 0 expertise, 0 following, and 0 experience. At the heart of the structure I'm going to share with you is clarity, namely an exact sequence from start to finish to having your digital product ready to start making sales. Let me explain how I figured this out. As a part of being co-owner in WAP, I get access to data from tens of thousands of digital product businesses that no one else has access to. I basically have more data than anyone else in the world on this industry, okay? I basically have the intelligence on this industry that no other company or individual has. I have the data behind over $1 billion in digital product sales. Right now, $140 million a month in digital product sales. And by the way, that's growing 5 to 10% every single month. So here's what I did. I analyzed the data from all the digital products on WAP that generate over $100,000 in sales. And here is what I uncovered. It turns out that every single successful product has 3 elements in common. And everything I'll be teaching you during this entire 3-day challenge will be built on top of these 3-step system, this 3-step system that I'm about to share. These 3 common elements are development, monetization, and delivery. And by the way, that makes a lot of sense. If you can follow these 3 steps correctly, you can make a fortune in this industry. The first step is quite self-explanatory. Nothing happens until something is bought. And for that, you need a product. In order to have a product, you need to develop one. That historically has actually been the highest barrier to entry when it comes to digital products. But now, as you already know, we can do that with AI. Now, there are a few very specific criteria you need to make sure your product possesses when you are developing it. They will ensure that your product has the highest potential of becoming successful and a highly profitable digital product. I'm going to break down those criteria in detail and give you the step-by-step process on how to create your first digital product from 0 in our live session tomorrow. Make sure you are at the live session tomorrow. That thing is going to give you the entire step-by-step. And I would say tomorrow is probably the most important session. Now, what I'm about to do is introduce you to some people that created their first non-expert products in a matter of hours by following this first develop step, okay? And by the way, these are complete beginners, by the way. The first example is from Richard. Richard created his very first non-expert digital product on how to raise resilient kids. The interesting thing here is that David is not a doctor or a pediatrician. He's just a father of 3 who wanted a solution for his own kids and turned that into a digital product. We also have David, who at first was going into a classic workout digital product, but figured out that a better topic would be working night shift without wrecking your health. Do you see how that's a way more specific and painful problem to fix? And this is someone who has never worked a night shift before, by the way. Or Utsav, who created his first digital product on how to have a killer conversation in 5 days without being an extrovert. Or this person, which, by the way, their name I don't even know, because they created their non-expert digital product completely faceless. They figured out people were struggling to buy tickets for big concerts or big sporting events at retail price, so they show you how to get them at a fair price. In their first 2 weeks, they earned $3,900 with little to no marketing. People who just 6 months ago had never created anything online. People who didn't want to show their faces online. People who thought they had nothing valuable to offer the world. And today, all with the potential to generate $10,000, $15,000, even $25,000 a month with their non-expert digital products. So let me show you exactly how they're developing their non-expert digital products. Do you guys understand the pattern here? None of these people were experts. None of them had authority. None of them had followings. The expertise came from thousands of published studies, reports, and professional resources. AI just synthesized all of that information. And here is what's happening behind the scenes. First, they identified a specific problem that people would pay to solve. Then they used AI to research everything available on that topic. Studies, reports, books, articles. Then AI compiled this information into a structured solution. They packaged it into a digital product format, usually a course or a system, and then they used AI to create all the marketing materials. The entire process takes weeks, not years, and it costs under $100 to create. With traditional digital products, you would spend years in order to become an expert. You would build personal authority. You would create content from your experience. And then you would launch and hope people trust you. With non-expert path, you identify a problem, use AI to synthesize existing expertise, and then you package the solution. And then from there, you launch immediately. Now, Let me give you 2 real world examples to prove to you that people are actually willing to buy these non-expert products. In fact, you might have even purchased one of them yourself. Have you ever heard of the book Think and Grow Rich? That is the top selling business book ever. Some people even say that it is the second top selling nonfiction book in history, only behind the Bible. And the guy who wrote it, Napoleon Hill, didn't even have a business. He had to spend 20 years interviewing the most successful individuals of his time, cataloging all of their insights and then putting them into a product. Now, AI can do what the greatest selling book on business did in minutes instead of decades, and do it even better. Another more recent example of this is a New York Times bestselling book called Crucial Conversations. This book has sold over 5 million copies. If you ask those 5 million readers who the authors are, barely anyone can name them. Why? Because the book is actually written in a faceless style. It is not based on the personal experience of the authors. It is based on reporting from a large-scale study they conducted with outstanding leaders. The book is actually just a summary of the findings. That is the equivalent of non-expert digital products that we're building here, just in a physical format instead. Now, here's the crazy part. Those authors had to manually interview each one of those leaders to understand the patterns between them. That took thousands of hours. We simply use AI to do that step for us. So instead of taking thousands of hours, it only takes a few minutes, and it is all based on proven scientific studies that are already published online. The simple way I like to explain this is this. Think of a map. A map's value has nothing to do with who's selling it. Whether it's sold by an expert guide or someone who just found it in their drawer, the map's value comes from what it points to, the content itself. The person handing you the map adds no inherent value to the directions it contains. And that's exactly what we're doing here with non-expert digital products. You're not selling your personal expertise or your knowledge. You're selling a map that points people to valuable information that already exists. You are synthesizing and packaging existing information in a way that saves people time and effort. Practical example on a simple solution that can be turned into non-expert digital products. All right, most of you guys didn't know this. Do you know that if you're flying to Miami for vacations, you can add a stop in New York on your air ticket completely free, so you can visit both cities in one trip, only paying for one flight? Imagine telling that to someone who's currently planning their vacations in Miami. How much would they be willing to pay to learn that? Most importantly, doesn't matter if you're an expert travel agent in that case. No, as long as you can show people how to book that air ticket themselves, that's all they care about. And that is where the value is for them. And guess what? You can learn how to do that in less than 3 minutes with AI. Or a completely different example. The number one injury that keeps people off work the longest in the US is actually shoulder injuries. And did you know that there have been over 20,000 studies on shoulder injuries, and doctors have found that there's actually one single 90s exercise that, when done once a day, can fix 70% of shoulder injuries and can even help avoid surgery? How much would someone who's suffering from acute shoulder pain pay in order to figure out exactly what that exercise is? Now, I didn't read the 20,000 studies to get to this conclusion. AI did, and it told me that. Now, let me give you a real example of a digital product that has sold thousands of units. There's a guy who's compiled the top 10 survival videos from YouTube and sold them as a digital product. His argument was, listen, there's over 60,000 survival videos on YouTube. I've compiled the top 10 for you, so you don't have to waste months going through all of them. And whenever I say that, people go, well, would anyone actually pay for that? Well, that guy sold 570 units of this digital product a day. So you can say it's working quite well for him. And if you want to do the same, you just need to be willing to identify problems and then let AI synthesize the solutions. Do you see how none of the examples I just posted were experts? All of them use AI to compile existing knowledge. The question isn't whether you're qualified. The question is whether you are willing to take action. Type, I can do this, if you believe you can succeed as a non-expert. And I believe that is also my tea break cue. By the way, guys, when I look off to the side, I'm looking at your guys' comments. Amazing, amazing. Great. Now that you know regular people are succeeding without expertise by developing non-expert digital products, would you like me to show you why beginners actually have a massive advantage over experts with this model? Well, and if I also show you exactly how the non-expert system works step by step, will that help eliminate any remaining doubts about whether this can work for you? If that's the case, well then perfect. Let's do this. Now, here's why beginners don't just succeed with non-expert digital products, but often actually outperform the experts. The problem with most experts is that they suffer from what I call expert tunnel vision. They are basically married to one specific idea or method. I mean, think about it. If you're known as the keto diet expert, you can't suddenly start promoting a different approach, even if you discover something better. Plus, keto is trendy. It's hot, then it's not. Something else takes its place. You don't want to be boxed in like that. You want to be like Amazon. They are not experts at books, but they publish books. So it doesn't matter what's hot. They make money selling the product, not being the expert on the topic. And that is why experts end up fighting this uphill battle, trying to force their specific method onto a market that oftentimes doesn't even want it. As a beginner, you actually have a massive advantage. You are not limited by your expertise. An expert needs to devote his entire life to one thing. If that expertise, I should say, is not in demand anymore, well, then now they're stuck with a skill that no one is willing to pay for. You are not. So you can just go for whatever is working best right now. You can try out as many things as you want for your digital products. You just look at the market, see what people actually want, and then give them exactly that. And that is why the success rate with those non-expert products is so much higher for beginners. Not to mention that experts also tend to be anti-AI. Lots of them are old dogs that don't want to learn new tricks. So they turn up their noses at AI and go, well, how can AI be better than me? So let them be snobs and lose to someone who embraces and uses AI, which is one of the most miraculous inventions of all time. Now, I will say there is an advantage to expert products, which is you can sell them as high ticket for way higher prices than non-expert digital products. But to do that, it takes a lot of time on top of being an expert, which goes against our end goal here, which is to help you make your first sale as quickly as humanly possible. And that's exactly why when you follow the system I'm showing you here, it is possible to launch your first non-expert digital product in less than a week, just like our users inside of Monetize do. And even if it doesn't work on the first try, you can pivot and adapt quickly. So by the time the expert launches their first product, which they don't even know if it's going to work, our students have already launched 2, 3, 5, even 10 products and found one or even multiple that actually makes money. Speed beats perfection every time. So you can see, or I should say, can you see how this fresh perspective is actually your competitive advantage? You focus on what works because you want results. Can you see how your ability to move fast actually gives you a massive edge over perfectionist experts? You adapt quickly because you are not stuck in old ways. Do you understand how AI gives you access to all expert knowledge without the tunnel vision, so you can combine insights from multiple experts instead of being limited by expertise bias? So let me reframe something for you. Being a beginner is not a liability. It is an asset. And that's why this is the perfect time to leverage beginner status. AI plus beginner perspective equals winning combination. So comment advantage below if you are ready to use your fresh perspective as your fair advantage. Lovely, lovely. Perfect. Well, now that you understand how to develop your non-expert digital product, let's go to our second step of the 3-step process. This second step is what's called monetization. And for you to be successful with this, I want you to forget the word selling for a second, okay? Everyone thinks, oh, but how do I sell these digital products? Just forget that word for a second, okay? Because the truth is, you don't need to sell in order to be successful. What you need instead is monetization. I mean, think about it. Have you ever gotten any phone calls from Netflix trying to sell you a subscription? Probably not, right? What about Amazon? Maybe they called you trying to sell you their new Fire Stick or a new Alexa. Probably not, right? You see, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, they are all among the biggest companies in the world today. You've probably purchased something from all of them, yet they have never sold you. Everyone thinks, but how do I sell these digital products? Just forget that word for a second, because the truth is you don't need to sell to be successful. Why? Because they don't need to. They don't need to cold call or knock on doors and pitch you into buying a streaming subscription, because they built a monetization system that works automatically. Apple monetizes through the App Store. Whenever you want to download or purchase an app, they don't need someone to sell you. The App Store does that job for them. Netflix monetizes through their platform. Whenever you want to watch a show, they don't need someone to sell you a subscription. The platform does that job for them. Amazon monetizes through their marketplace. Whenever you want to buy something, they don't need someone to sell you. The marketplace does that job for them. And with that, they don't need to focus on selling, because they end up selling thousands of times more than the products that actually focus on that. What they do is far more powerful, and that is called monetization. If you want to be successful, sell your products easily and sell it a lot of times, you don't need to sell, you need to monetize. And what all those successful digital products I talked about, what they all have in common is that they all have a monetization system that converts strangers into customers. In fact, all those digital products follow pretty much the exact same monetization system. And I'm going to dive deep into exactly how to accomplish this and how to get this done for you using AI on day 3. But I'm going to give you a little spoiler here. Here, we once again use specialized AI to create a page for us and script a very specific video that converts strangers into buyers for our non-expert digital products. By the way, this is the exact same monetization system I've used to generate almost $100 million in sales for my own digital products. And it follows the exact same flow that Netflix, Amazon, and Apple all use in their monetization system. But don't worry about that for now. I'm going to unwrap all this together in our Tuesday session. Finally, once you've developed your product and have the monetization in place, sales are going to start naturally pouring in. At first, it's going to be just a few sales, 1 or 2 here and there. That is how we all start. Now, after you dial your monetization, these numbers can scale a lot and they can scale quickly. Like Connor, who created his first digital product and in 24 hours got to $16,000 in sales. And 3 days later, he was already at nearly $62,000 from his digital product. Or Rebecca, who made over $9,000 in 24 hours when she launched her first digital product last Friday. Now, I need to address something very important here. Okay, there's this false belief out there that you need to be known in order to be successful with digital products. And this creates massive barriers for regular people, simply because many people feel uncomfortable sharing personal stories and don't like the pressure of constantly having to perform your personality online. Look, if you want to create your personal brand, 100% go for it. I'm not against personal branding. Listen, I do it myself. But don't get caught up thinking that you must have one in order to create a successful digital product. Just like there are advantages to creating a product with a personal brand behind it, there are also huge advantages to going for the approach that I call faceless. Let me show you some real examples. Remember that guy I mentioned earlier who creates Fortnite maps? Well, he never shows his face. He just creates amazing Fortnite maps and tutorials. And he's making over $8,000 per month faceless. Why does it work? Because customers care about map quality, not the creator's identity. So he just has to implement a monetization system, and he gets to turn strangers who don't even know who he is into paying customers. That, my friend, is monetization. And as you can see, it works regardless of whether you show your face or not. Remember that woodworking product I mentioned earlier? That is also from a faceless creator. Although the product is called Ted's Woodworking, the guy doesn't show his face in a single video. There's just a stock picture of an old guy on the cover of the product. But can you actually think about how much this product earns? Can you imagine how much this product earns? I mean, a product like this, surely there's not a big market for it, is there? Maybe like a few $1,000s a month, right? Maybe. I mean, would you believe millions? What about tens of millions? This product is one of the top grossing digital products ever. The guy who developed it has been monetizing for over 10 years at this point. That is the power of pairing the right non-expert digital product with the right monetization system. And that is why faceless works better. You don't need to build an audience first. You can start monetizing right away. You don't have to worry about your accent, your face, your skin color, your age, or any other personal limitations holding you back, because this isn't personal. It's faceless. And you can find out right away if your digital product works or it doesn't. You can launch many digital products all at once and delight in the fact that some will make a lot, some a little, and some none. And that's the game, okay? But it doesn't matter because your face isn't honest. So you can just keep putting out product after product. And these products we're selling don't need much convincing because they are on the cheaper side. The woodworking product I mentioned earlier sells for $67. The average product on WAP sells for $49. So you don't need a lot of trust for someone to buy something that cheap. Plus, it's much easier to expand it into multiple product lines when you are not tied to one personal brand. Do you realize the power of this opportunity? And I want you to make the most out of it. I know the next question you probably have on your mind is, but how do I actually create these non-expert digital products with AI? And I will answer that in just a second. But before that, I have something even more important that you need to understand if you want to seize this opportunity. Now, I like to be very, very honest with you guys here, okay? Throughout all these presentations, I'll always be completely upfront and honest with you. It's very easy for me to come here and say that this business is just roses and flowers and it's the best thing ever. But let me be honest with you. That wouldn't be realistic, okay? So I have to say this here. There's only one potential issue in this business model. There's just one issue that you may face, okay? And that is on the delivery side of things. Because the number one reason businesses fails in the digital product industry is that they grow too much, too fast, and then what happens? Their delivery breaks. So they end up letting down hundreds of customers, which is deadly in this business. And that is why you need to have the right delivery system in place so that, first of all, this doesn't happen. But most importantly, by having the right system, you can deliver your product automatically without any input from yourself. So the work for fulfilling 10 sales or 10,000 sales becomes virtually the same. This way, you can also do everything yourself and you don't need to hire a bloated team or any employees. This is the ultimate one-person business. And that is the last thing that all these successful digital products that scale past $100,000 have in common. They have their delivery system on point, which allows them to essentially have unlimited scale. No other business can provide you with that. Usually, scaling comes with a lot of constraints and headaches, more logistics, more complex shipping routes, scaling suppliers, growing storage spaces, etc. But not in this business. With a setup I'm going to show you, you can scale your digital product almost infinitely without ever facing any of these scaling issues. You create a product once, and after that, each time you sell, all you have to do is copy and paste the access to it to a different person, which all happens automatically. You don't need to manufacture anything or send it anywhere. You don't need to be sitting at your desk or working at all to deliver it to more people and more people, okay? And that is why I like to say that digital products essentially fixes all the problems that come with e-commerce and physical product-based businesses. There is a reason that this is considered the most profitable industry in the world. And we're gonna cover this more in depth in episode 2 and 3. Now, let's take a step back and look at what we have discovered together, because I want you to realize something. You are not the same person who started watching this presentation. I mean, think about what you believed when we first started. You probably thought, oh, I need to be an expert to create digital products. I need years of experience and authority. I need to show my face and build a personal brand. You assumed I need thousands of followers to succeed. I need technical skills and big budgets. In your new reality, you have the non-expert advantage. The non-expert digital products don't require your expertise. The beginner advantage, you can now start with under $100 and 0 following. The faceless advantage, and you're not married to specific methods that might not work. You have the AI advantage, access to all human knowledge while AI handles all of the technical complexity. The timing advantage, you are here before mainstream adoption. You are literally positioned better than most qualified people. Most people still don't see this opportunity, but you do. You are literally ahead of 99% of people who will eventually discover this. So now you have a choice to make. Path A is continue doing what you've always done, get what you've always gotten, or path B is use this rare opportunity to change your trajectory. You are in the perfect position to capitalize on this opportunity. The only thing that can stop you now is you. More specifically, your desire to hold on to that old identity of you before you knew what I shared with you here today. Are you willing to honor that old part of you for bringing you here today and then step into this new you who is finally ready and able to take action? If so, you are ready to move from learning to doing. And that is exactly what I'm about to show you how to do now. It all starts with the following exercise that all of the people who have succeeded with this go through. Look, I've had tens of thousands of people join one of my programs. Tens of thousands went on to make money and become ungovernable individuals. Some of them went on to make a lot of money with them. I've had guys going from delivering Uber Eats to making $10,000 a month in a matter of a couple months, and then getting to $57,000 a month 6 months later. But there are also thousands of people who never made a single dollar. All of them had access to the exact same strategies, frameworks, and systems, and that always really bugged me, okay? How come two different people who have access to the exact same information, tools, systems, everything, go on to have such drastically different results in life? And for over 2 years, I had my team search for the answer to this question. I literally created an entire department in my company, the success team, that all they do all day is jump on calls with students all day one-on-one. They took over 10,000 one-on-one calls with students to coach them and figure out the answer to this question. And we have had people starting from all different situations you can imagine. Young guys in their 20s who are still in universities, people just starting out who have never had any work experience, people with years of experience working in their industry, people in extremely difficult personal and financial situations, okay? People in very fortunate situations, people who are very good with words, and those who barely spoke English. And surprisingly, the starting point made no difference in their final result. We have had those who failed even with lots of previous knowledge and having everything in their favor. And we have also had those with no expertise, no technical knowledge or work experience who still managed to become successful. And after those 10,000 calls, the answer became very, very clear. Very clear. Let me ask you a question. And I want you to be 100% honest with me. No judgment here, okay? Be honest with yourself. Do you feel right now that you are capable and deserving of having a business that makes $10,000 a month in the next 30 days? Yes or no? Listen, don't be afraid to drop the real answer. We've all been there, okay? Drop in the chat. Now, let me change the scenario. I want you to now imagine your father or your mother is about to be wrongfully convicted to 15 years in jail. 15 years that they're going to have to spend locked up in there with barely any contact with the outside world. They're about to get robbed of 1/5 of their entire lives. And the only way to stop that is to get a lawyer, which you can't afford because his fee is $10,000. In that situation, do you think you would be capable of figuring something out to generate those $10,000, not even in 30 days, in 7 days, if even that? Yes or no? Drop it in the chat. What do you think with that level of urgency? Now, what is the difference in each of these situations? The difference is the why. It's the why behind your actions that makes you achieve what right now you don't think is possible. It makes you break the limitations that you set for yourself. What we realized was that all of the successful students had a why behind the business that they were starting. And more important than that, that why was not related to them, okay? They're doing it for someone else, for their mom, for their family, for their wife, for their girlfriend, for their son, whatever it may be. The fact is, we are all going to face setbacks in our journey. It doesn't matter what you do, how much information you have, or what business you get into, you will face setbacks. That is the reality. And having a clear why is what sets apart the ones who keep going regardless of the setbacks from the ones who fall through the cracks. So I have one question for you. One question that will set apart the challengers who reach $10,000 a month from the ones who inevitably just give up. What is your why? Is it living on your own terms and never having to obey a boss again? Is it making sure that your parents are taken care of? Maybe it's helping your loved ones and giving them gifts. Is it the freedom to travel wherever and whenever you want? It's only with a powerful why that you will be able to profit from non-expert digital products and become ungovernable. So what I want you to do after this episode is to note down what your why is. This is important, okay? Or I should say this is as important, if not even more important, than all of the other content I'm going to give you today. And I hope you understand this. Now, I want to close off this first session with one fact that 99% of people have no idea about. I call it the wealth shift. You see, there's a piece of economic science that's been hiding in plain sight for over 100 years, something that only economic professors and researchers know about. And this obscure economic theory reveals the exact timing of this massive wealth creation opportunity. Every major fortune in history, from the railroad barons to the tech billionaires, was built by people who unknowingly, they didn't realize that at the time, tapped into the pattern that I'm about to reveal. The difference is they stumbled into it, as I said, by accident. You are going to see it coming and you are going to predict it. And once you understand this pattern, you will have what I call opportunity X-ray vision, the ability to spot wealth building windows before they become obvious to everyone else. So here's what you need to understand about these unusual circumstances that AI has created. And this is going to get us just a tiny, or I should say this is going to get a tiny bit technical here, okay? So just bear with me, guys. But if you can understand this, you're going to be ahead of 99% of people when it comes to making money with AI. So stick with me here. Back in the 1920s, an economist came out with a theory called quantitative wave theory. This theory points out that technological revolutions follow predictable 30 to 50-year patterns. And to this day, universities like Stanford and MIT all agree that this is still the most accurate predictor of major technological disruptions. Each wave is a complete 50-year cycle that overlaps with the next one. And according to the cycles, that last wave was supposed to end around 2020. Which in that case means that we should be 4 years into the 6th technological revolution. The only problem is we're not. So it means that we are late. We should be deep into the cycle already, but we're not. Meaning at any moment now, we will, for a fact, experience a revolution that is as big as the internet, as big as electricity, as big as the steam engine. And if we need to elect one technology that already exists and is developing at lightning speed to be the technology that drives this 6th technological revolution, there's only one sensible answer: artificial intelligence. That is probably why the CEO of Google said that AI is more profound technology than fire or electricity, and why the top consulting firms, all the way from every single business you can ever imagine, every single top consulting firm, they all say that this represents the largest economic disruption since the Industrial Revolution. Just so you understand, this pattern has held up 250 years with 85% accuracy. And if that is the case, we are in the early spring phase of the AI revolution. Now, here is what that means in practice for you. First, just like with any revolution, there's going to be winners and there's going to be losers. The past industrial revolutions completely changed the way we produced and the way we work. Millions lost their jobs and they were replaced by machines. But at the same time, tens of thousands of people got rich by being at the right place at the right time. And the same will happen again. And all of the most notorious business and economic schools in the world agree with this prediction. It's not a matter of if this AI revolution will happen or not. It's already happening. So if that's the case, the best thing we can do is to put ourselves in the groups of the winners, not the ones who will get replaced, which are the most, which is actually most of the current professions. Second, you have to understand that if these revolutions only happen once every 50 years, depending on when you were born, you're only going to have an opportunity like this once in your lifetime. So to be living through a time like this makes us extremely lucky. And that is why the next 2 to 3 years represent the most important wealth building window of our generation, and why missing it could cost you decades of financial progress. So let's go ahead and make a deal here. Look, I'm spending my time here to show and break down this opportunity in detail for you. I've been preparing this exact preparation for almost months now. My team built this beautiful slides. I'm taking 3 to 4 hours a day to present this to you here for free. So I expect something in return from you, and that something is your commitment. So can you commit right now to not just being a passive observer of this revolution, but to actively position yourself among the winners who will benefit from this once in a lifetime shift? Start by joining me here live during these 3 days of the Make Money Online Challenge 2.0. Because I'm going to hold you accountable to this deal. Look, so far today, we've covered the 3 criteria framework to spot the best wealth building models. The 3-step system that allows you to combine AI with digital products to get your first product created, even without any expertise or even showing your face online. Third, the 1 simple exercise that all the people who succeed with this go through. Fourth, the 1 little known piece of economic science that reveals the exact timing of massive wealth creation opportunities. So, are we all in agreement that we achieved the goal we set at the beginning of this episode? And my promise to you that after this session, you are never going to be able to not spot opportunities. Drop a yes if we accomplish that in today's episode. Well, in that case, can we say that this was a well-spent hour together? Perfect. Because now there's only one thing standing between you and success. It's not your capability. It's not your time. It's not the opportunity. It's a structured action plan to develop your first non-expert digital product. I mean, think about what you know now. You understand non-expert digital product opportunity. You know the beginner advantage. You've seen faceless creators succeed. You understand AI capabilities, okay? And with all this, all you need now is a specific step-by-step action plan to turn this knowledge into actual income. Right now, you're informed, but you're not yet equipped. An action plan is just a step-by-step structure that eliminates guesswork. It provides a clear path from idea to profitable product. It is the difference between knowing and doing, and you are ready for implementation. You just need that action plan. So let me ask you a question. Can you follow a simple step-by-step action plan? If you can, well, then you can make money with this. So do you want me to give you the exact same action plan that's generated $8.9 million in tracked digital product sales in just the first 90 days? That's tracked sales, by the way, okay? Which we have access to on the back end of WAP for our monetized users. Well, that is exactly what I'm going to deliver to you in tomorrow's session. And you must be there live to watch it. Because if you take that and combine it with this opportunity that I've shown you today, this will be the most powerful opportunity that you've ever had in your hands before it hits the mainstream. So make sure to set the notification for tomorrow's episode already. And now it's time for us to be a little bit more informal, have some more fun. This is a part of the session that you will only see here if you are live. So remember, if you leave at any point now, you're not going to be able to watch this ever again, all right? From this point on, anything from here on out will get cut and will never be seen publicly again, all right? Everything from this part on out will get cut from the replays after this live session ends. So as I said, if you leave, you will miss out. Also, I'm going to be dropping right now in the chat the link to the early bird group to get more information on the offer that we're going to present in a later episode of the challenge. I'm going to drop it as a pinned comment on the live chat and in the description of this video. Just so you know, this is very, very, very important. The first 888 people who join this offer will get an exclusive bonus where you get the opportunity to work together on your digital products side by side with me for 4 weeks straight. Okay, we work together side by side. And the people in this group will get the link to join 15 minutes before the public does. Okay, that's why it's essential for you to join the WhatsApp group right now. My team will pin it. Just a little bit of context here. The last time I made this available, this bonus expired in less than 8 minutes. This time, it's probably going to go even faster with the amount of additional registrants that we have. So now that you already know why joining this group is essential, as I mentioned earlier, I brought in a co-host to help me give you guys the best experience possible here for this challenge. He's been taking notes on all of your questions. As I said, I've been trying to focus mainly on the main presentation, so apologies if I couldn't get to all of your questions and comments, but he's been taking notes. And now he's going to come here. We're going to hang out for as long as we feel like it, to be honest. We're going to have some fun and make sure you guys have everything you need to start your own digital product this week already. May I introduce you to Jason Fladlin?
Yo, yo, yo. Check this out real quick. I'm going to show you a little teaser. I've been screenshotting the questions as they've been coming in. I'm going to hang out with you. We're going to answer these questions. You're going to get some live coaching. How many souls we have on right now? 65,000 some odd souls. The number goes up or down. We're going to train. We're going to coach. We're going to help you understand not just thematically what was covered today, but also get you in the right mindset so you can take advantage of this. And then on top of that, give you some specific, actionable, dovetailed, bespoke to you in your situation insight. I have a couple questions here. I have questions about, hey, I'm neurotypical. How does this affect me? I have WAP questions, lots of WAP questions. I've been actually messaging the owners, some of the owners of WAP. Of course, IMAN is one of them, but we've been chatting with the rest of them. Yeah.
I would have loved to respond. But.
So I got some of those questions flagged down here as well. I got questions related to particular, strategic questions, tactical questions, age questions, qualification questions. I have all of this and more. I'm just going to shut this right now here for a second because we are going to get to those questions and more of those questions. I want you to ask questions that you think if you had the answer to them, it would make you more of who you are. It would make you better at what you do, and it would get you closer to what you want. So take the time, put those questions in. I have 9 people on my staff right now. Count them, 9 individuals who I've set to task to track the questions and grab them. After that, for those of you who are committed to go the distance, because we're going to go for a little bit here tonight, because, you know, making a baby doesn't happen in a blink of an eye. It takes 9 months last time I checked. So we're going to dig down. We're going to go through it. So after that, I will go through the questions at the end just to make sure that no stone doesn't get uncovered. No question that is important and relevant doesn't get answered. We got to put this right here on the mug, and we got to showcase this off, okay? Just so you know, we are live here. It is 10:15. You can't see this. It's upside down. Subtle flex on the watch right there.
10:15 in Dubai.
Yeah, 10:15 in Dubai here. By the way, top prize tech, kind of my favorite style, and I'm not a flashy guy. Here's my drip, just so you know. This is my drip right here, 0.44. Shout out to all of you who know what 0.44 is in the chat.
Yeah, just so you guys understand, we had our VIP session right before this. We went into some crazy training there. So if any VIPs here, can you guys just show some love in the comments? Let me know if any VIPs here.
Hell yeah. VIPs are where it's at.
0.44, yeah. Show some VIP love.
Yeah, there's a little funny story about that. And this is how this works. And if we're anything, we're authentic, which I think is important in this day. They say that there's a trust recession. And I kind of, put my nose up to that. There's always been a trust recession. If you don't have trust, you don't have much else. And so the way that we get trust is to be authentic as possible. We put the numbers on there. We show you the warts and all of how everything gets done here. Last time when we did this, at the end of April, at the beginning of May. VIP, we did it informally. We put a lot of focus on getting the structure and the core, the messaging out there. And we did good on the fulfillment of VIP, but we weren't out there trying to slang that. You know what I mean? So we didn't have that dialed in. So we were very proud of the 0.44. So 0.44, that means 0.5% essentially last time upgraded to the VIP experience. And we would go live with them intimately 1 hour per day before we would go live with the rest of the people. And again, we track the numbers because you know who likes the report card? The straight A student. You know who hates the report card? The kid who isn't passing the grade. And so we like to track the results because that tells us how good of a job we do. We can get applause. Applause is cool. We can get the thumbs up. We can get the likes. We can get all that kind of stuff. But what matters at the end of the day is results. And more important than our results is your results, because your results get our results. I'm going to answer a couple questions here very shortly.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Guys, we are aware. I'm seeing a lot of links not working, the waitlist group. So team is fixing that right now. As I said, we want to focus on you guys. I don't want to be focused on all that stuff. So team is working on that in the background and should be sorted ASAP. We'll drop a update in the chat once that's sorted. And then also the PDF password. Obviously, there's a free workbook and there's a password to it. We'll reveal that password in probably 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I have it here on the thing too, and we'll have it put up there.
So yeah, if you're having issues getting into waitlist, I understand. You're like, listen, tomorrow I want that 15 minutes advantage over everyone else. I get it. I will be stressed out as well right now. Apologies. The thing is, when we have such big events and there's so many people, sometimes there's things that happen here and there. So as I said, we're going to focus on you guys. We're going to focus on the questions, the comments, stuff like that. And then my team will be working very hurried in the background to make sure that they can fix that for you guys.
And this is a good example, Iman, of what it looks like in the real world. People think they compare themselves to an impossible standard, and then they get disappointed when they don't meet that impossible standard. Well, there's a reason why you can't meet it, because it's impossible. And so instead of trying to make everything right before we start and then we make things right. And so we make sure to get the messaging correct. We make sure to give you some insight. And then if the tech stuff breaks a little bit, spoiler alert, it always will, you can fix it in the mix, if you will. And that's an attribute to success that is hopefully transferable by us showing up and being here with that. I also like the fact that y'all are clicking on the links, and that makes me excited, because if nobody noticed that there was a problem, then that's an even bigger problem. So at least we're doing something right. And on that note, I want to answer the first question. And I thought this was really interesting, because to me, Iman, this is kind of personal. First of all, brief crash course, Jason Fladlin is my name, because I know last time we did this, I got about 1 million people asking, who's that guy? What's his name? Yada, yada. Jason Fladlin. Don't try to spell the last name. Misspell it in Google and it will correct it for you. I am the coach to many people that are behind some of the biggest launches that you know of. I charge an unbelievable amount of money for my time, and I've been involved in all of the biggest launches that have ever occurred. And so use this time to get free coaching from me. I am not internet famous. I was doing this before social media was a thing, and I never prioritized social media. Instead, I like to partner with the people that are not just big on social media, but are big in the results that they're getting for the people that they reach on social media. So use this to your advantage. And on that tip, to Nguyen, I can't say that last name. I mean, it's a Vietnamese. Yeah, Nguyen. Apologies, by the way. I am a college dropout. And this is an interesting question. It's around, hey, I have a neurotypical brain. Or if I could translate that into my older 42-year-old speak, you have autism or ADHD or something to that effect. Well, welcome to the club. This thing never worked right since the day I was born. But instead of looking at it as a deficiency, I looked at this as an opportunity for me to see things differently than everybody else saw them. And guess what happens when you see things differently than the average person? Then you get other than average results. Exceptional results, in fact. You don't get ordinary results, you get extraordinary results, otherwise known as extraordinary results. And then the question that two asks is, it says, when the routine becomes stagnant and you need something else to motivate you, shiny object syndrome would be strong. What should I do in that situation? God bless you. Up until recently, my advice to you would be different than it is now. And my advice to you now is you have AI, so let that shiny object syndrome shine like a diamond, my friend. Shine bright like a diamond. Because you can juggle 12 projects simultaneously now. You could create 12 digital products in the time that it would take to create one. So in the past, and I'll tell my story maybe later if we have time, my first digital product that I created in 2007, believe it or not, was 6 pages long. Because I couldn't write more than 6 pages without getting distracted, without getting lost in thought. I had 100 half-finished digital products. And then I finally crossed the chasm and got my first digital product created. And then I was so scared out of my mind, I sold it for $4. Okay, so it was very difficult. So I had to narrow my focus to get something that was finished. So for you, AI can do that for you, and you can do all 12 projects simultaneously. Whereas back in the day, it was impossible to only do one. So this is a superpower in disguise if you're utilizing the correct AI. Now, I'm biased here because obviously we have some pretty amazing AI that we'll be talking about on day 2, but general AI doesn't seem to help with the distraction. It might not hurt, but it doesn't seem to help. It's just a different way of getting distracted, if you will. So if this is important to you, at least give us the focus, and we keep them moving. I don't know, we had like 700 slides today. This is part of to keep your brain activated consciously, while subconsciously we help you change limiting beliefs into more empowering beliefs. But just to let you know that this is actually, it's not a bug, it's a feature, and we'll prove our case on that one. We do have another question. This is funny, related to WAP. Does WAP generate buyers as well? We love marketplaces. We'll talk more about this on day 2. But the idea here is I could either go to you and be like, here, buy my San Pellegrino water, knocking on your door. And you're like, get lost, right? Or you can go to the store and you can buy it from the store. And it's not like somebody's selling it to you. It's a distribution chain. Amazon is the most famous distribution chain. WAP is to digital products what Amazon is to physical products. And here's what I like about WAP. WAP is emerging as the leader. It's not matured as the I'm already here. Because listen, I've been to Amazon. In 2013, I was leading a group of insane entrepreneurs up the mountain that was called Amazon. We sold $25 million worth of stuff on Amazon. We so effectively pillaged Amazon that they changed their terms of service because we understood Amazon and knew how to sell on Amazon by going up the search engines. So I know a thing or two about marketplaces. And what happened is when Amazon matured, they tightened the reins. Thank you. They said, let's boil the frog. You know how to boil the frog? You just turn it up a little bit at a time and then you kill it. And so that's what Amazon did as a maturation. Now, I don't think WAP will ever do that, okay? Because Jeff Bezos, he plays a different game than the rest of us. But the point is if you were there during the period they were building the marketplace, that was more advantageous than if you showed up after the marketplace was built. Being alongside of them gives you perk. Knowing IMAN gives you mega perks, okay? And now I know the guys because IMAN introduced them to me, and that's a mega perk as well because we're all fighting for you because the more you win, the higher the valuation of WAP goes up. The higher the valuation of WAP goes up, the more the owners of WAP make money. So the old paradigm, because I've been around the block a couple times, the old paradigm was guru makes money whether you make money or not. And that's how everybody operated. But the smartest brands these days, they say we make money because we help you become successful, and that's how we become successful. WAP is one example of that. Utilizing the AI that we're talking about is another example of that because the more you use it, the better results you get. The better results you get, the more we know what to double down on. The more we double down on, the better we can make the product in the future, which means you get better results. This is called a positive feedback loop. When any part in the loop gets accelerated, it accelerates all the parts. Right now, you're probably in a negative feedback loop, which means every time you attempt to do something, you're reminded of how you didn't do it last time. That makes you feel bad, and then you don't do it again this time. So what we want to do is break the loops that are negative, replace them with positive loops, and then you'd be amazed. You would say, whoa, I'm capable of all of that? Yeah, you are. Of course you are, because you have the most powerful computer that still exists, which is between your two beautiful, brilliant ears. So that's that. I'm going to answer another question. Then we'll talk about the workbook and how you can get your hands on that, right?
And by the way, guys, apologies. When I'm on my phone, I'm just trying to fix this technical issue. We're getting confirmation, but we may have broken WhatsApp. Well, at least it's API. So
we DDoSed ourselves, actually. We had too many clicks.
At the moment, it looks like it's overloading WhatsApp and the WhatsApp group. So I'll keep you guys updated. I've got tech team on standby.
Yeah, so I'll answer another question. And guys, I'm here. I'm a ride or die with you tonight, all right? Just so you know, I typically only work with 8, 9, 10-figure companies. It's kind of lonely at the top. It really is. If I go out there and I speak to audiences, it's typically dozens or hundreds of people in the audience, but they're typically worth, in total aggregate, hundreds of millions of dollars. So I help millionaires make more millions. It's lucrative. But it is not as fulfilling as getting the opportunities to reach. We had 54,722 people here. To me, creating the seeds to plant future millionaires is the most fulfilling thing that I can do. But very few people can bring on this many people to a live event. IMAN is one of the few in the world that can do it. And he brings on my favorite type of people, which is people that are new and open and fresh. Because old dogs are harder to teach new tricks 2, and it's easier to start from ground zero than to start 15 levels below the basement. And so I'm excited, and this is why I'm committed to you. And on that note, the question here, this was an age question. Farhad says, can teens benefit from this? But let me translate that a couple different ways, because you might say, well, I'm 70 years old, can I benefit from this? Or I'm 54 years old, can I benefit from this? Or I'm a teenager, can I benefit from this? And you have to step back a second and ask the question inside of the question. What does age have to do with your success or failure in the digital product business? Now, historically, what age had to do with it is, well, people might not take you serious if you're younger, or if you're older and you're trying to be cutting edge, then you're cringe, or whatever they used to call it, right? You may be insecure about your age, and that might stop you from moving forward. You might think you need credentials. Now, most of that stuff wasn't actually ever true. It really wasn't. But it felt more like it was true, a decade ago or even 5 years ago. And here's why none of that matters anymore. Because by being a faceless, non-expert digital product creator, age doesn't even enter the conversation anymore. It's really, what can you do for me? Do I believe you can do it for me? And am I willing to trade my money for your solution to see if you can do that for me? And so age becomes, really, it doesn't matter what the age is in most instances. Now, obviously, if you're going to teach menopausal women how to cope with that and how to be their best selves, and you're an 18-year-old guy, market to match message fit isn't there. But if there's a million different opportunities you can pick from, and only 875,000 of those opportunities will allow you to be faceless, we don't look at the 125,000 that we can't be in. We embrace the 875,000 that we can be in, which leads me to a very important point that I would love for you to take on and make your own, is this. Some people curse the darkness. Other people light candles. What do you want to be? Do you want to be a person that bitches that it's dark outside, or do you want to flip the light switch on? Do you want to light the candle? And this is unfortunately the reality, is when people look at something, if it's only 5% difficult over here and we can step past that and we can embrace the 95%, they can't get past the 5%. And that is sad, and it's upsetting to me, and it's frustrating, because I don't want to leave anybody behind. But I'm only half of the success equation, and you're the other half. IMAN is only half of the business partnership. You have to be the other half. Now, we will lift our end up, and in fact, we will take 10 steps every time you take one step. But until you take a step, 10 times 0 is still 0. But if we can multiply you, then we can multiply ourselves. And hopefully that makes sense. So age can serve you if you say, hey, I'm young, and because I'm young, I'm going to go hard, and because I might not have the wisdom yet, but I have more energy, and I used to know those days more than I know them now, then you can use that. So there's upside to being young. Or if you have some years of experience on you, and I've been in this internet game so long, I'm really like 168 years old, actually, right? I have wisdom now. I can't go as hard as most other people can. I don't want to. I'm tired. I don't want to run at that speed. I have 3 kids, a dog, and a wife, all right? And I love them all. And so I would rather make less moves, but because I have more experience, I can make bigger moves, and I can make them more accurately. So I lack maybe the energy and the execution that you have, but I have other benefits. You have benefits that I do not. IMAN has benefits that you don't. You have benefits that IMAN doesn't have. And there's always enough benefits when you pair them with what we're teaching you over these next couple of days, where winning is absolutely possible. And that's what we're super excited about. How's the tech looking?
I was about to say, I'm going to go check in with team.
All right.
Team's downstairs. You keep rolling through these questions, and let's fix the tech issue first, and then
we'll give the workbook.
Yeah, but let's one problem at a time.
I
shall be back.
All right, cool. All right, let's go, baby. All right, I'm gonna put this over here. I have more questions. Tristan, could I get a water possibly? Because we're gonna get a little crazy here if we can now. Is this useful to you so far? Is what I'm saying resonating or tracking at any level? Okay, because I'm trying to spit some game here that will be of your benefit, regardless of whether or not you move forward with us, whether you publish with WAP, whether you create a digital product, or whether you say, okay, I've checked it out, I've holistically analyzed it 360 degrees, I've looked it up and down, and I've decided it's not for me. What I want, though, you to do is make a decision if it's for you or not, because I'm finding it hard for me to find a use case now where I would not include you in the digital AI revolution. I've been through a few cycles. Now, you heard me talk about Amazon earlier, right? I've been there. Before that, I was WordPress. Now, most of you are like, what the heck is WordPress, Jason? At one point in time, and it may even be more than this now, 25% of the internet was powered by WordPress, and we were publishing some of the first ever WordPress products that existed out there. That's how I got my first $1 million viral sensation, was off of WordPress. So I've been in that revolution. I've been in the Amazon days. I had the marketing rights with the marketing partner for the first ever Shopify approved program that existed out there. We were cycling through crypto when crypto became hot. Not that crazy moon stuff that everybody got seduced by, but something that was a little bit easier to model and understand. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And now we're in the forefront of AI. I thought Bitcoin was big. Bitcoin is a rounding error compared to what AI is. And I have the statistics to back that up. New AI money is being moved into AI in a year that is larger than the 2.36 trillion market cap, which is Bitcoin. So if it's not this AI, it should be some AI. But I will tell you, if you study every pattern and success leaves clues, you will find that every successful brand is publishing products. And the most common product that they're publishing are digital products. And they are publishing what we call big products for big markets. None of them started there, by the way. So you have all these small markets that everybody is neglecting and overlooking that are not being served at all, that are worth $5,000 a pop, $10,000 a pop, $20,000 a pop, sometimes $100,000 a pop, sometimes more than that. And then guess what happens when you start winning? You get momentum. When you get momentum, you get leverage. When you get leverage, then you get reach. And this is why it's often harder to make that first 100,000 in this business than it is to make the next 900,000 and get to $1 million. Going from 0 to 1 is the most difficult process because an object at rest stays at rest. So we're trying to get you in motion. And with this business, the cost of motion is insignificant because AI, with the right type of digital product framework, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow, means that the effort involved is minimal compared to the potential output. So hopefully that resonates. If you like that, drop monetize into the chat for me right now. Put that monetize in there. And my team is like, damn it, Fladlin, I can't keep up with all these questions. But I got a couple more. Okay, I'm going to circle back and answer another WAP question. Earlier, Eve said, Stripe is a major pain in the ass. Couldn't sell on WAP because I live overseas also. So I asked the guys directly at WAP. I said, what's the response to that? And they said, yes, any country that is not U.S. sanctioned. So basically, if the U.S. says you're okay, which is 99% of countries out there, then it works. He says, we have global payouts as well to any country in both crypto and in their local currency. Again, in a get off my lawn, old man yelling at clouds moment here, I have been part of and seeing the advent of many different digital product publishing platforms and processors out there. At one point in time, I had 12 on speed dial, 12 different people who have founded some sort of digital publishing platform that were coming to me and talking to me about it, partnering with me, having me speak for them, all that kind of stuff, right? There was always one major, there was two, but there's one primary barrier to entry with that, and there's a secondary barrier to entry to that as well. The first one is it cost money. Every other processor out there that was worth a damn, you had to pay a monthly fee for. Sometimes you had to pay a setup fee and then a monthly fee. And then on top of that, a transaction fee. WAP has cut all that off. So the entry point to get onto the WAP is frictionless. And I like that because you should put products up and sell them before you pay for the distribution of those products. To me, that just makes sense, especially in 2025. Now, here's the secondary barrier, which is getting approved to process payments. That seems simple. that seems like an afterthought, but unfortunately in the real world, it's not. If you can't take money, you can't make money. I know, profound, right? Confucius says. So you got to be able to take the money if you want to make the money. And WAP is by far the best at that. Now, WAP does a couple things that I really love, and they're really good at third-party financing. And guess what happens every time I've seen somebody use the platform? They've increased their conversion rate, not because they had a better product, not because they had better marketing around it, just because they were using that as a platform. So we're super excited about that, okay? Now, however you get the product online, get it online. However you want to put it out there so somebody who needs it can say yes to it and exchange money for value, which is what makes the enterprise of capitalism so incredible. You should not rob somebody of the opportunity of not being able to give you money. You should increase the amount of ways people can give you money with digital real estate, digital assets. And the way you get digital assets is you publish digital products. We back on track?
Okay, so I've got some updates for you guys. Everyone who stayed on stream, very smart of you. Because listen, I would feel terrible if I feel terrible if you guys didn't manage to get into waitlists and someone took your spot and all this stuff. I know this sounds crazy. We've broken WhatsApp. So not all of WhatsApp. We've broken WhatsApp groups. So I was just chatting my CMO, Luis. I'm actually going to have him come sit in for a minute because also he's an absolute expert. He's kind of like you. He's the faceless, non-expert digital product guy, but he's going to explain the intricacies of what's happened. So please stay on the stream because we're working on fixes right now. Sending people straight to WhatsApp for the waitlist group isn't working. So we're now figuring out some other stuff with HubSpot. And just because I would feel terrible if tomorrow it said there's only 888 for the fast action. So yeah, if someone else takes your spot because of WhatsApp going down, I know this sounds crazy when you hear we broke WhatsApp, but Luis will explain it to you. So I've got Luis here. Let's bring Luis in.
Oh, hell yeah. We're getting Luis on the camera.
Thank you. What's up, guys? What's up? Thank you so much for having me here. I'm not dressed properly for this occasion, but we're here. Basically, what's happening, guys, is you guys are so fast that we have a little bit of a software that we have hundreds and hundreds of groups just to sustain all this volume. And when you guys click there, if too many people click at the same time, one group can only sustain 1,000 people. And there's 2,000 people clicking at the exact same moment. So all of you get redirected to the same group. You can see by the number there, there's 150, 154. And it can only have 1,000 people inside, but 2,000 people click at the same time. By the time you click, someone else joined and took your spot. We have more groups, so that's not a problem. The only problem is too many people joining at the same time, so the groups keep running out. So we're just fixing that. In a few minutes, it should be fine. It's just that redirection in between the moment you click and lots of other people clicking at the same time. It causes that problem that by the time you land on the WhatsApp group inside WhatsApp, when you go on your WhatsApp and click join, it's already gone. So you guys are fast. You guys are very fast. We're fixing that. In a few minutes, it should be fine. The whole team's working on it.
Nice. All right, so just hang in there and keep trying, which I appreciate. And that's an attitude of a winner, by the way. A winner isn't somebody who doesn't face adversity. A winner is somebody who gets knocked down by adversity, gets up and tries again. And if they get knocked down again, then they quit. No, they get back up again and they keep going at it. And that's what we're doing. And hopefully everybody here is hanging in there with us. And of course, I got a bunch of questions that we can jam on and that we can get to. But a couple of minutes, you think we'll get everybody situated?
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome, man.
5-10 minutes.
You're the man, Luis.
We're trying.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We're trying.
Nice. Cool. Any parting words?
That's it for me. That's it for me. Thank you,
All
guys.
right, thank you. Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, well, I guess these things happen when you're live. Well, we did say last time it went in 8 minutes. So last time we had the exact same tech, the exact same system, the exact same everything worked perfectly. And I guess this is what happens when you have twice as many people registering for this event. Almost 1 million people registered.
Yeah, and
insane.
Last time a bunch of Europe internet went down the day that we went live too. So
Spain internet fully down. It was crazy.
So there's only so much you can do. And that's in this is a good model. Again, I'm always looking at things. There's two frames that you can look at anything with. You can look at it as a problem frame or you can look at it as a solution frame. And the problem thing is, things didn't go according to plan. A solution frame says, okay, what can we do as a result of what just happened? If you take nothing else from me today but that and apply that to every area of your life, it will be a miracle how much different your life will be in a few short months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And so everything has an opportunity for you to grow as a person. And of course, now we're going to be here trying to help as much as we can. We will probably overdo it to make up for the inconvenience. So at the end of the day, if you can hang in there, I think you'll probably win even more.
And yeah, as I said, just shout out to you guys, because once this stream ends, this gets cut out. So like, you guys are seeing you are the only eyes that are going to be seeing this content, and yeah, this Q&A and this more informal stuff. I actually like the informal stuff. So we got to get through the training. We got to go through the serious, rigid stuff. And also, by the way, sometimes apologies if I speak a little fast in the main presentation. I'm just trying to get through all of it because, it's like we put together so much slides, so many information. And yeah, as I said, for me, like this actual informal setting, I feel like this is when you actually get some of the most fascinating golden nuggets.
It's funny, Iman, because again, I've been doing this for so long, and marketing something is different than delivering it. You could put something that's not that great in a brilliant, beautiful box, and the box looks attractive, but what's inside of it may not be. The other way, you can make it amazing, but put it in an ugly box and people won't notice it. What you try to do is the best of both worlds. And what we're doing here, and this is important, and this is a lesson that I've learned just becoming an expert, not only at the marketing of these products, but in the delivery of them and the transformation. We don't want information, we want transformation. That's what we create here. And here's a lesson for all of you today. It's this. This is a Jason Fladlin Wisdom Gem number 83, if you will. So write down number 83 next to this one. If you can look at something through multiple perspectives, you get multiple insights. If you get multiple insights, you get better results. So we give you the formal structure with the slides, with all of that. Then we give you the informal structure. Now you have two perspectives and vantage points to look at. If you're a VIP, shout out to VIPs, we did a third structure for VIPs. We have now given you 3 different ways to look at the same thing. The more perspectives you can look at something, the more insights you get from the thing. The more insights you get from the things, the more outcome that you get from the things. Okay? So I'm trying to make that Instagrammable. I'm not quite there yet, but hopefully that tracked.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even with the VIPs, I mean, even the format was different. Obviously, with the VIPs, we went through and we had a whole Canva slide, and it was incredible presentation. So, as you said, I think it's important to hit multiple different formats, because some people, they like that visual. Even tomorrow for the VIPs, you guys can't see it, but we have an overhead rig, so we have all these foam boards, and it's like more visual. And then obviously we've got the Canvas slides. For some people, they prefer the slides we did here. Some people prefer the more informal. So yeah, we're just trying to help you guys out in multiple different formats.
Yeah, so shout out to all of you for hanging in there with us. I got another question. I'm going to go sprint through a couple questions real quick because we got a lot of them. Bubakar, nice name, by the way. You think I'm making this up? I am not. Bubakar says, what separates people with professional qualifications and people who learn the same skills through digital products or AI? And the answer is nothing. I used to work with one of the top dog trainers in the world, and she was like a world champion dog agility trainer, really cool woman. And somebody asked her a question once. They said, if you train a dog through positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement, could you tell the difference? And she was a world champion. She said, no. She says, I would prefer positive, not negative, but I could not tell the difference once the dog is well trained. I'm not calling all of you dogs, okay? All right. By the way, I like dogs more than I like most people, so that would be a compliment coming from me. But the idea here is nobody can tell the difference if the solution is there. And by the way, most people, they don't care. You might follow on social media a lot of political opinions, a lot of ideological opinions, but when it comes time to solve a problem, people really don't care who's solving it for them. They care more that the problem can be solved. And oftentimes, and especially with faceless products, they don't know your name, they don't know your color, they don't know your age, they don't know anything about you that is not necessary. And instead, and this is what I love, all my favorite products, by the way, check these boxes. They take the emphasis off the personality and they put the emphasis on the product, as it should be. Because if it's just me or if it's just Iman, then we have one experience to draw from. But if you're and we have a lot of experience, so that works really well for us. if it's you creating a product in a new niche you haven't experience in, should you go get it? Or should you crowdsource 150 plus vetted, absolutely valuable sources and then combine them together in a more effective way than any individual source works on its own, when the sum of the whole is greater than its parts? When you add them together, the output is greater than the numbers that you add together. And that's exactly what we do. Now, back in the day, I used to preach this till I was blue in the face, and nobody would do it because it would it would involve you living in a library for a very long period of time, and that's only step one. And then step two is sorting that information in a coherent fashion. We can use AI to source the knowledge that is greater than any individual on the subject possesses, and then we can curate that, and then we can put it together like a puzzle. And again, AI can do that as well. You'll see it in action tomorrow. But that's essentially what we're doing here. So it doesn't matter if you were the qualified person or you sourced it from the qualified person. It doesn't matter if you were the one that took 10 years to figure it out or you were the one to find the person that took 10 years to figure it out. The old joke back in the day is if you want a new idea, look in an old book, because pretty much all the fundamentals and the foundation are there. But if you take 3 old ideas and combine them together in a new way, you have a new idea that's more valuable than the 3 old ideas that were also valuable in and of themselves. Tell me if that makes sense in the chat, or am I crazy, right? Maybe I'm not explaining it properly. I don't know, but that's what we're going after here. And then Humara says, I have a question. Other than digital products, what else would be useful to consider for making money according to you? That is a fantastic question, because digital products can easily morph into physical products if you want to take it to the next level. Now it's a little bit more complicated, so we only typically do that when we have a huge winner. You can take digital products and you can build interfaces around them, and then you can create software, and that could or could not be a digital product depending upon, if you want to split hairs. But we only do that when we have a winning product that is performing well as a digital solution first. So you can go other places. Like I do high ticket consulting. I do services that start at $150,000 plus percentages, right? All of those are on the back of digital products, and not on any digital product, on ones that are proven winners. And that is what I hope you really glean from everything that Iman and I are teaching you here today, and for the next 2 days as well, is this: if you could publish many products, you don't have to be right to be rich. You can be wrong 9 out of 10 times and be unbelievably wealthy as a result, because you can publish 10 digital products, 9 of them could be colossal failures, 1 of them hits, and it pays for the rest of them, as it should.
Can you just repeat that? What do you say? You don't have to be right to be rich.
Yeah, you don't have to be right to be rich.
I think a lot of people don't understand this. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, and this is a conversation we have all the time. Right or rich, pick one. If I have to pick one and I only could pick one, I want to be wrong and I want to be rich. A lot of the rightest people I know are the poorest people I know, because they're so right that they're selfish with being right. And they don't see that it doesn't matter if I'm right or if I'm not right. What this person needs is not for me to be right. What this person needs is for me to be useful. What this person needs is for me to be helpful. And you might say, well, gee, what's the best way for me to be helpful to that person? And my answer to you is, I'm not exactly sure, because I don't have a crystal ball. I cannot predict the future. So I don't know what combination of things they will need that will be most useful to them. But if I can give them all of the combinations, then I guarantee one of them will be useful to them. So here's an interesting viewpoint to look at success through. Run out of ways to fail, and then you will automatically be successful. So everybody's trying to force success in losing. If we exhaust failure, then we win as a byproduct. So we will be wrong, and then we will be rich. And then we can double down on being that rich. So if that product works at its infant level, at its simplest level, then we double down on that. Then we bring more resources into it. Oh, child, oh, sweet child, if you only know the resources we have tomorrow that we have brought to and added for free to what we're going to show you, it would blow your mind. Some of these are 7-figure investments that we will distribute to you for free when you become a member of Monetize. And we didn't do that up front. We only did that after we knew we had the right combinations of things in place to double down on it and double down on it again.
And two things I want to mention there. You know, a lot of people say, listen, I'm sure as we've gone through a presentation, like this is all fact checked, everything I've ever done, everything I've ever put online, every business I own, bought 100% of, businesses I'm co-owner in, this is all public information. So when you say, oh, there's resources that we've literally written 7-figure checks, like actually 7-figure checks, not to profit off of a single penny from, just to make things better for the people we care about. I won't go too much in detail. Like, we will show that and we will prove that. It will blow your mind. But just one thing I want to mention in terms of, you know, being wrong, right. Yes, but there's one caveat I do want to make. And I think this is why I've always had such an apprehension about, I feel like, this is me personally, I just feel like a lot of online business models and whatnot is gambling in a sense. I guess, listen, everything in life is a gamble. But if you go to a casino, I'm not a big gambler personally. That's just me. If you go to a casino and you have unlimited chips, eventually you'll win. Yeah. Now, if you only have a couple chips and you lose, I don't even know how to use this is how little I gamble. I don't even know the verbiage or the terms or whatever. So listen, if you go and whatever, you're playing roulette, this, that, you throw in your chips, like sometimes you only have one spin, right? And that's sometimes what online business feels like. And this is why, for example, just me personally, this is our brand right here. It's not a massive business, but we're still a multi-million-dollar a year business. And in most people's definitions, that's very successful and very, very profitable business, by the way, at that. But the thing is, for people, the reason I don't recommend physical product businesses or e-commerce businesses is these things take investments. And sometimes, you know, everything in life is a gamble. We can't sit here and say that 100% you're going to come in and win and succeed guaranteed. No, of course not. Like, that's life. But for me, the issue is when you invest in a business, whether that's into physical stock, whether that's, you know, trading, and, you know, you're putting $2,000 into this coin or this stock because someone told you to, and then now all of a sudden you're wiped out. That's it. Your game is done. You have no more chips to play. So I like games and I like businesses where, especially as beginners. Now, for me, I'm at a later stage in my career where I can write massive multi-million-dollar, like huge multi-million-dollar checks to take, you know, stakes in businesses or buy businesses outright or this. I'm in a different stage. And bear in mind, the way I got here was digital products. But I can take those gambles. But when you're a beginner, you need games where you can keep playing the game. And you know what? Maybe your first product doesn't work. Yeah. Maybe your second product doesn't work. Maybe your sixth product doesn't work. But does it cost you anything? Can you keep playing the game? Are you not bankrupted? Do you have more chips to keep playing? Because if that's the case, you said something very profound. You're like, keep losing until you win. And that's the truth of it. If you can keep losing with not no additional effort, because everything in life takes effort, with minimal additional effort, and that's really what AI has allowed us to do. And most importantly, with no extra cost, for me, that's the big thing. Like, I have so much anxiety when I see beginners like spending $5,000 to start a business or $10,000. Like, it just gives me a lot of anxiety. Now, spending it on the right tools, that's a different story. But like, okay, I'm gonna try this product and spend $5,000 here and $5,000 there and $5,000 there. That just gives me a lot of anxiety. And as I said, it's a surefire way. Or I'm gonna invest $5,000 into this crypto coin or stock or this, that, or whatever. Like, or $5,000 on ads on this product. Like, it just, that's one way that you can really just end your chance of playing the game. But if you can play the game, okay, you lose on this one, you lose on this one, you lose on this one. This one, you strike it big. Yeah. Then 100%. There's no chance that you don't win. Now, when you win is a different discussion, but there's no chance that you don't win if you keep playing.
Yeah, be wrong in ways that never harm you. That's always been my attitude. Be wrong in ways that only make you better. So if you create a digital product and it doesn't work, you didn't really lose if you used the AI. Now, if you spent 6 months creating a product on your own that you thought was a good idea, that is harmful. That's a loss in a way that I don't like. So we want to lose in ways where we only get better, and then eventually we'll run out of ways to lose, and then we'll win automatically if we don't get there sooner. Here's a good question from Samara. How to manage heavy competition. So there's two philosophies to competition. One is competition is good. I like a lot of competition. I like competition with billionaires because when they drop $100 bills, they don't even slow down to pick them up. They step over $1,000 and $10,000 opportunities because they're too small for them. So I love to hang around competition and then just get the overthrow that the competition doesn't care about. So competition is a very good thing as long as you observe where you can be agile that the competition is missing. Conversely, also, if you can be in places that don't have much competition, that can be fantastic as well. Now, here used to be the old risk involved in this. So this is a way to be wrong and be harmed if you're not careful. Oftentimes, the reason why there is no competition is because there is no money. So the worst thing to do is create a solution that doesn't have a problem that somebody's actively looking to pay for to solve. Now, again, this is where AI gets very exciting because, first of all, we can create a lot of products, so we might go into niches without much competition, and we might not pick the right niches, but nobody cares. But even better is a lot of the AI that we're using, and we'll show more about this over the coming next 2 days, is really good at finding needles in haystacks. You want to know how to find a needle in a haystack? Get a magnet. Then you can find the needle in the haystack. So the AI in this analogy is the magnet. It will pull it. If you want to, I wish they had how they have a metal detector, a diamond detector, where they get, because that's how I think about AI. AI to me is like the first ever diamond detector. It can find the diamond in the rough. And so either way, it works really well. If you say, Jason, this is heavily competitive, good. We can find the excess that competition will throw off. And for you, if you're just starting off, that will be more than enough. Or we can go into places that aren't on people's radars, because here's what's insane. Consumer demand will always eclipse supply. The problems you solve today will be replaced by new problems tomorrow that nobody has solved yet. So if you think all these digital products that are going to go out there are going to eat up the marketplace, think again, my friend. There are all sorts of new problems every single day that people are experiencing for the first time ever. And if you're the first solution provider for them, there's a saying in marketing, it's better to be first than it is to be better, because first is better than better. Solving somebody's problem adequately is better than waiting 6 months and solving it more effectively. If somebody's house is on fire, they don't care what water you use to put it out. They don't say, oh my God, it's not Evian water, so therefore don't put my house out. They say, give me the garden hose. Give me the dirty water. Will it do it? It'll do. And then we'll put it out. And so that's so important for you to understand. The real competition, now listen to me. No, seriously, listen to me on this one. The real competition is your future self versus your present self. And the faster you can bridge the gap between competing with your future self and making it your present self, the better you will be. So if you want competition, compete with how quickly you could step into that person that you want to be in the future and bring them into the present.
Well said.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm going to go check in with the tech team again. I'll go try to get an update for you guys. You keep running through some questions. And
awesome.
Then, soon enough, we'll give the password once we manage to fix the tech issue.
Okay, great. We still got 41,704 peeps on this. I appreciate you. Drop in some love if you think that was good. The real competition is against your future self and bringing them into the present, if that was profound to you. By the way, this is one of the reasons I love to do this live. I ain't got no script, my friend. I'm just listening to your questions, channeling them in there, and going to a higher source and trying to bring the answer to you. At least that's what I think I'm doing. And so you asking me these questions bring the best out of me in the moment, and then I can share the insights with you. So hopefully this is useful to you. If not, it's surely useful to me. And we're going to work through the tech as well as we do this. Now, Tejas, I'm assuming that's his name, he has this question: what is the biggest sacrifice I would have to make in order for this to work? That is a great question. So everything has in it a sacrifice. So if you want to be healthy, you have to sacrifice the foods that will make you unhealthy. If you want to be rich, you have to sacrifice the things that keep you poor. And so everybody is really good at only looking at the sacrifices that change who they currently are. And so the sacrifice of being more valuable is you have to learn a new skill. The sacrifice of learning a new skill is you're going to have to put time and attention, at the very least, into it, and hopefully money, because of the three costs that everybody pays to get better. Money is the cheapest of the three. So the three costs, let's run them down real quick. There's three expenses that you will pay in life no matter what, on any activity. It is time, money, and energy. So money is, if I'm spending money to acquire knowledge, then that's the cost. That's an easy one. We're also spending time. You and I are spending time today. You are sacrificing your time to do something else and investing it with Iman and myself here today. So that's the second cost that you pay. And then the third cost, in my opinion, the most important cost, is energy. Like if I have to look at a spreadsheet for 5 minutes, it feels like an eternal hell. It's terrible. I hate it. I'll throw the biggest fit you've ever seen. But if I go out, my wife and I, we lived in the south of France. Long story. Maybe I'll tell it tomorrow. At the beginning of this year. And the best thing about living in Cannes is you could drive to Monaco in an hour. Come on now, first world problems, right? And on our anniversary, we went to Monaco. We went to Hotel de Paris. And we ate at one of the best restaurants in the entire world. And it was a 5-hour, I think 14-course meal, something ridiculous like that. Not bad for a small-town Iowa boy. And so 5 hours passed by like it was 5 minutes versus doing things that are not enjoyable, that I know won't really help me or fulfill me. 5 minutes feels like 5 hours. So these are the 3 costs that we pay. Or if you're doing it from a solution frame, these are the 5 investments that we make. So if we look at everything as an investment, now it could be a bad investment or it could be a good investment, but we reframe the languaging of sacrifice and cost, and we look at everything as an investment, I promise you, my friend, you will get more out of life. Because when you evaluate everything as an investment, then you look for a return on that investment. So in this business right now, there's a cheat code. And I love shortcuts. I love the things that I can spend the least amount of effort in to get the most amount of reward from. Now, normal temperature stuff out there says you got to put a lot of work in up front to maybe get a return on that work later on in life. AI for now is the shortcut. Now you have to investigate and analyze and have it demonstrated in front of you what that AI looks like and how to use it, and more importantly, what not to do with it. Because I'm sure you've seen the news lines. AI used inappropriately is dangerous. So you have to have the right guide to follow you and lead you along the way to utilize the AI. So the real investment is you are investing in the highest emerging, most disruptive, most lucrative, if you land on the right side of it, technology to ever exist. But if you neglect it, then you will land on the wrong side of that technology. And I'm generally an optimistic guy. I'm also a realist, but I tend to lean a little bit optimistic realism, I guess. Maybe I'll make an Instagram on that one day when I get to it, because I'm not that active there right now. I'm so busy working on things like this. But I will be remiss if I don't bring up the fact that AI will put a lot of people who used to do things a certain way out of business. And a lot of those people, they don't make a plan. There's two ways that you can handle any situation. You could be proactive or you can be reactive. What do you think most people are? And the answer is reactive. And what do you think most people get as a result? They have to make a plan based upon something that happens to them instead of make a plan for something to happen for them. So we can be reactive with AI and maybe we'll get lucky. We can be reactive with AI and maybe the government will save us. I would never recommend that to you if you were my friend. Or we could be proactive with it and we can invest into the various different applications of AI. And hey, let's put them to the test. You know what I love to do more than anything? Find the very best thing out there so I can say to you, hey, run ours up against every other one. Try us. And if you find somebody better, let me know, because I will buy it. And I might buy it for you too. We might just acquire it. But I am very confident in what we have. And that's the investment or sacrifice, depending upon how you want to define it. Here's a good question from Philippe. Philippe says, what is one thing you would say to someone who's trying to change his mindset and win this battle with his mind? That is a great question. And I've spent a lot of time on this. By the way, I work with people north of $100 million or more in net worth, and they have the same mindset issues that you do, Philippe. Here's the difference between them. They set them in the passenger seat, so they don't allow them to drive the vehicle, but they still have them. I remember speaking on a stage with Richard Branson one time many years ago, multi-billionaire, and he's backstage scared out of his mind, almost throwing up before he gets on the stage. And then he gets on the stage and you could never tell the difference. So it's not that you're overcoming them or changing them. You're just not letting them take control of the decisions you make anymore. So you can be scared and you can do it. You can feel uncomfortable and you can still acknowledge that it's the right thing to do. Because if it's the right thing to do, it don't matter if it's hard. It don't matter if it's easy. It don't matter if it's scary. It don't matter if it feels comfortable. If it's the right thing to do, you do it. Okay? Now with that said, here's a little bit more nuance to this game. Because again, I play in the edges here where if I get a little bit of it right for somebody who's worth $100 million, they can make $5 million or $10 million more. This is why I get paid the big bucks, baby. The first thing that we can do is we can attempt to change something, aka put a lot of effort, push on it. When you push on something, it pushes back. Or we can attempt to accept it and go with it as opposed to change it. So what is useful about your mindset that exists right now that we can take into it and invest it and utilize the best parts of it? So instead of trying to change your whole entire mindset, what is the most effective part that already exists inside of that mindset? And how can we just have more of that show up? How can we multiply that? How can we enlarge that? So the last thing I ever try to do with anybody that I'm helping or I'm coaching or I'm consulting for or I'm partnering with, the last thing that we do on the list of things to do is change something. Most often, the first thing that we do is take something that is useful and get more use out of it. How does that land with you? Because there's something in you that brought you here today, so there's something inside of your mindset that's useful. At some point in time, you developed some sort of core competency that you didn't have before. If you can read language, just take a step back and think of how remarkable of an achievement that is to go from not knowing what these weird symbols are on paper to be able to construct thoughts and sentences and paragraphs and pages. That is a monumental accomplishment that some part of your mindset was able to achieve. And we can take inventory. Now, if you're a VIP, use the alchemy of self. The alchemy of self allows you to repattern what is useful already in your life to have more of it show up and remove things that don't necessarily need to be there anymore, because that's the second thing on the list. So the first thing on the list is take an inventory and find what's useful and have more of that show up, and all of you can do that. The second thing on your list is just subtract things that don't need to be there. The hardest thing to do in the world is add. The easiest thing to do is to subtract. So in this example, we can take AI, we can have it put out 12 products, we can subtract the 8 that suck, we could test the 4 that seem to have promise, and then we can really get behind the 1 or 2 that does something well. And I'm over-exaggerating because it will probably come sooner and probably come easier and the numbers will be better in your favor, but I'm proving the point here, right? We don't make things more complicated to become successful. We remove things that are unnecessary, and then simplicity emerges from that. Tell me if that resonates with you. And so my suggestion to all of you is if we just maximize more of the valuable things that you have going for you, and you have more than you could ever imagine, and then we just subtract things that don't need to be there. Okay? I'll show you a magic trick. I can give all of you a whole bunch more time instantly. If we make a list of the 5 things that you do on a daily basis, we order them from most important to least important. We put a number next to each one of them. We just take the least important one. Not your favorite thing to do, not your second thing, not your third thing, not your fourth thing. If we take the least important thing that you do and we put the time next to it, and it says 12 minutes a day or 27 minutes a day or 31 minutes a day, and we just don't do that, we have now freed up more than enough time for you to be successful in this business. Not by asking you to do a Herculean transformation, because that's the least effective way people succeed, but by changing the degree of focus just a smidge, changes the trajectory massively. So there you go on that one, okay? Was that good? Did you like that? If so, drop in a monetize into the chat. Hopefully this is resonating. By the way, we got 37,000 people on. I appreciate you hanging tight. We will get the workbook to you. It will be worth the wait if you are committed. And by the way, this will happen to you too. I will spoil your future. Something will go wrong in your near future. I guarantee it. And then again, this gives you the opportunity to behave in a different way than you've behaved in before, which is also interesting, isn't it? Well, I wonder how that'll show up for you, by the way. Okay, so let me look at this one. Why would anyone buy digital products when Google exists? I like this one. Yeah, Flix says this one, in all caps, by the way, right? Why would anyone buy digital products when Google exists? Okay, first of all, just a consideration. I'm going to put this out there. You try it on, you see how it fits. I find why questions tend to be the least useful questions on a tactical and a strategic level. Why questions are amazing at a visionary level, okay? So my wife does an unbelievably great job of this. When the kids are like, why isn't dad going out with us today? Why is dad in Dubai for 11 days? And she helps them understand why I go away from the most wonderful things that I love in this entire world, and I choose to do something else. She helps them conceptualize and understand that why. And then they get it, and then they can be grateful for it, and they can appreciate it, and then they can help them make decisions and model that. They can understand how I can be more there for them long term if sometimes in the short term I have to be other places. And by the way, I know they were watching earlier, so shout out to the kids if you're watching. The why isn't important on a tactical and strategic level, because the question is this: do people buy digital products? Yes or no? Yes. How much do they buy them? A little or a lot? The answer: a lot. Are they buying more in 2025 than they were buying in 2024? Sí, sí me gusta. Yes, grande, mucho grande, right? Does the trend appear to continue to accelerate in 2026? 100%. So it doesn't matter why. They don't. What matters more usefully is how are people buying digital products these days? And what types of people are buying them? And in what fashion are they buying for them? And where are they looking? Okay? But typically, there's two types of people that will ask the why question. The first people are the skeptical. They're looking for a reason to prove you wrong or to prove themselves right, so they'll say, why? It's almost an accusation in disguise, right? Now, the second type of people that are asking the why is because they're trying to understand what's happening and they're having trouble seeing the whole picture, and that is totally okay. You know how you get understanding? You get understanding out of ignorance. So you start in ignorance and you end in understanding unless you quit. So out of confusion comes clarity. That's how IMAN started the presentation here today. And so we start in a state of confusion, and if we work through it, we end in a state of clarity. And so there is the question, the intent could be, well, why do they buy products when Google exists? Let me give you the simplest example that I can give. Let's say that if you spent 16 hours on your own researching for a solution, you could find it and not have to pay for it. Or you could pay $10 for it and get the solution in 16 minutes. So $10 in 16 minutes versus 16 hours in free. What deal is better? Well, to about 95% of the population, saving 16 hours and spending $10 instead is by far a better deal. This is ironically why books you go to the regular bookstores or you go to Amazon and you buy like a 300-page book for like $10 or $20. They go for less money than 30 and 40 and 50-page PDFs do. Shorter ebooks that are specifically aimed at solving specific problems go for higher amounts of money and are easier to create. And why? And the answer is simple. If the combination to the safe is 5 digits, if I give you 25 numbers, is that useful or is that not useful? And the answer, of course, is it's not useful. Anything more than the necessary is unnecessary. And so what we need is the least amount of things required to solve the problem. And this is why people buy digital products. I'll give you a couple other reasons because I did this not too long ago. I listed 23 reasons because somebody asked me of what causes somebody to buy a digital product. But here's the second one that I would love for you to write down if you could. They buy it for confidence, the transfer of confidence. Do you know about this concept called imposter syndrome? Have you ever heard of it? Most of the population have it, and here's what's ironic. The more competent you are as a person, the more likely you are to suffer from imposter syndrome. Isn't that insane, right? There's the Dunning-Kruger effect, where the dumber you are, the more confident you are in your decisions because you're too stupid to know any better, right? So only smart and reasonable people have self-doubt for the most part, right? So oftentimes people will buy a product from somebody else because it's a transfer of confidence. They can't feel comfortable moving forward on their own. But if somebody else tells them to do it, then they will do it. sometimes as a consultant. Now, because we're not running this back, this is only for you here live today. We're not putting it on the recording, right? I'm going to tell you a little secret, a little story. Oftentimes I'm brought in by very, very big companies who pay lots of money just to make hard decisions that they can point to me and say, well, Jason said to do it. So they don't have to, management doesn't have to own it. They don't have to be the one that makes the hard decision. I can be the scapegoat that they point to instead. And this is true for 9-figure companies, right? What to speak of consumers who are spending, $19 on an ebook or $29 on a digital product or $49 on whatever. So that's a second reason why people buy digital products. It is the transfer of confidence. The third reason is here's a little statistic for you, okay? By the way, are you finding this useful? Because I'm feeling like I'm dropping some gold nuggets on you here, but maybe I'm crazy, right? I'm obviously biased, but I think I'm giving you some insights. Is this good for you? Is this giving you some insights that you think are going to find useful? Because here's another one for you. I'm gonna say this one quick, so write this one down. 7% of a market spends 70% of its dollars, okay? I can look over here on the left. Actually, it's down here on the right here. My man Tristan put it down here, but we have 5 Cartier boxes. We have 3 Rolex boxes, I think, and we have a Patek box at least. Yeah, go ahead and throw me over one of them, or 1 or 2 or 3 of them, right? Yeah, thank you. By the way, the first nice watch I ever gifted myself was a Cartier to this day. And then, oh, nice. This is my favorite brand, by the way. My wife bought me this, bought me my Patek, and that makes it extra special here, right? Now, who buys this? Who buys a Patek? Who buys, by the way, you can't buy a Rolex anymore. Like, good luck. You got to be IMAN level of connection to be able to buy a Rolex these days. You go in and you try to buy a Rolex and they say, get lost, beat it. Maybe I'll sell it to you next year, right? But who buys these? 7% of the market spend 70% of the money on luxury watches. Now, this extends far beyond, by the way, we're giving some of these away. More on that tomorrow. This extends far beyond luxury goods, though, because, I live in Brentwood now. I could throw a rock and hit 2 celebrities out of my backyard. And, we lived in Cannes earlier this year, and so I could hit the same celebrities earlier on this year as they were traveling there and vacationing, right? So the tendency is to think this is only applicable with luxury items, but that isn't the case. Every market is distributed in that fashion, where a minority of the buyers spend a majority of the money. And man, all of you have a friend who barely makes enough money to survive. They have a job just over broke, right? Yet they're like, Pokemon cards is a good example of this, right? They'll drop $3,000 a month on Pokemon cards. I was just watching a YouTube short this morning because, I flew to Dubai. My sleep schedule is still LA time. And I'm watching that accountant guy who's always auditing. I think his name is Caleb. And there was this argument where the woman was paying $150 a month to send to her dad in Mexico to support her dad. And the husband was complaining about it. Meanwhile, he's dropping $3,000 a month on Pokemon cards, right? Almost all of their disposable income. Now, morally, right, wrong, hell, I don't know, right? But every market is disproportionately built that way. It is a mathematical certainty that a small percentage of buyers in the market buy a majority of the stuff in the market. And you know who buys, and you know who you should sell to because they will be grateful to you. And you know who you should model because if you model successful people, you will find they spend a lot more money on themselves than unsuccessful people do. Unsuccessful people spend more money on things, and successful people spend more money on things that can improve themselves, not on items. All right, but check this out. I lost my train of thought. Okay, let me run it back a little bit here. Here it is. Here's who are the best buyers in any market, and here's the people that buy digital products. Those that practice the principle of a slight edge. So people like myself, when I get interested in something, I don't buy 1 product or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10. I buy every product. And I don't buy any product expecting it to have all the answers. I buy all of the products because I know if I get a piece here and a piece there and a piece here and a piece there, then I will get everything I need. And so to me, it's an insurance policy to buy multiple different things about something that I'm passionate about because I make the connections by weaving them together. Now, again, I understand it. My income bracket is pretty good these days, right? So I have the luxury of doing that. But again, if you look at any market, even non-luxury items, if you look at most markets, when people are very serious about something, they will buy multiple products on it. So those are just some of the reasons why people buy products. So hopefully that was useful to you. Okay, overcoming the fear of judgment. Mad says, how do you overcome the fear of judgment? So again, what is Fladlin's principle? What is Fladlin's principle of dealing with something that feels like a challenge? We don't try to overcome, the fear of judgment, right? That's the last thing that we do. What we try to do is accept the judgment that will empower us the most. So we say, if I should be judged, in what ways can I be judged that will only be useful to me? Or how can I play in situations and circumstances where we can remove judgment out of the equation? Sorry, we're like now at what is it, 11:25 p.m. I'm an old man. I go to bed. I go to bed earlier than this normally, right? So we try to embrace what's good about judgment that you can get excited about, or we sidestep it, or we remove it. And then the last thing is we can deal with how do we overcome the fear of judgment. Let me give you a secret on that. Make what you do so small that it would be impossible for somebody to judge you harshly, and start there. And I'm case number one on that. First product I ever sold was 6-page ebook, and I sold it for $4 because, hey, there was no way somebody could say that I was charging too much. So I overcame the fear of judgment by making it irrelevant. And not only that, I only sold it to people who were happy to gamble $4. It's really cool when you sell to people where money is not the primary concern. Like the advanced, super awesome, really great marketers, they will sell to people where money is a major concern. But if you're starting off, you should sell to people where money is a minor or non-existent concern. And so what I did was I shrunk the problem down so small that it would be impossible to be judged. This is why we're so excited about non-expert faceless digital products, because that sidesteps the issue of judgment. But here's the other thing too. This might be useful to you. So tell me if this is useful or not, right? You can feel the fear of judgment, but you don't have to identify with the fear of judgment. So there's a difference between saying I feel afraid versus I am afraid. Did you catch that? One of them is an identifier. If I am afraid to be judged, then there's no hope for me. I cannot move forward. But if I say I feel the fear of judgment, then I can add in this magical word. And here it is. And. I feel the fear of judgment, and here's how I can move forward. And that's been one of the best ways that I've been able to really level up my game over these years. It's not that, here's what people tend to do. They tend to avoid the feeling as soon as it pops up because it feels bad. So, oh my God, I got to shut it down. So they do everything they can to avoid it. And then guess what happens? Not only does it not go away, it gets worse over time because it can take roots and then it can grow, right? So they either completely try to avoid it, or they fight against it. If you fight against your fears, you will lose because your fear is stronger than you are. So they waste all this energy fighting fear, and half of that energy, if they just put it to use in the digital product business, it would be 4 times more energy than needed in order to succeed. So by fighting back against it, you deplete all of your usefulness, and you still feel bad at the end of the day, right? Or we can accept it, and now we remove the friction of it. We can say, I will feel the fear of judgment, and here's how I can still move forward. Or here's how I can reduce that feeling so it's so inconsequential that now I feel more afraid not to move forward. Because here's another little thing for you here, okay? This is Fladlin giving you some love, all right? Tell me if you feel this. Tell me if this resonates with you. People will judge you for inaction more than they will judge you for action. So write that one down. Jason Fladlin, quote of the night, maybe right there, right? People will judge you for inaction more than they will judge you for action. So you will be judged anyway. How do you want to be judged? And what environments can you influence that judgment to benefit you more than in other environments? And they will not judge you as much at first, but then ultimately they will judge you the most. And so you will have to face that fear of judgment anyway. We can do it together with the strategies that I've broken down for you right now, right? Or you can avoid it and it will still be there and it will get worse over time. And I'm just saying this, hopefully this resonates with you. I'm saying this because I care. I'm saying this because I don't want you to suffer if you don't have to suffer. That's where this is coming from. So let me know if that's resonating in the chat. Okay, here's another question. What is something that I would have? Okay, oh, sorry, that was Tejas. Okay, this is This is going from Tia. How can you make sure the AI is making a clean job if you cannot assess and make sure that the work is correct and coherent? Okay, you on your own, you would want to triple check your work. I was just reading an article yesterday about a lawyer who got sanctioned for $10,000 because he submitted a case. The judge says, listen, these references to these court cases that you're talking about, these precedences, they don't exist. AI made that ish up. So you would want to triple or quadruple check it on your own. If you're utilizing the technology that IMAN has available to you that we will make available tomorrow called Synthesize, then that does it for you because it goes through a whole protocol of citing things that a normal AI can't do. One thing that you will hear if you listen to everybody is there will be a lot of people who says, well, whatever AI can do this. And I get where they're coming from. They don't know any better. They haven't used the technology. So they are making a decision on the outside looking in, having not experienced it. And so naturally, they will default only to what they know. Just makes sense. That's how the human brain works, right? So we have technology that will safeguard against those issues. So it's valid that you bring that up because we don't want an AI that will confidently give incorrect information because AI on its own is really good about that. I got a really funny story with my wife and I. We were paying some of the help around the house and we were trying to use ChatGPT to calculate it, and we had a screenshot that we put in there, but it was the wrong screenshot. It had nothing to do with any of the numbers we were trying to calculate. It was a completely irrelevant image, but ChatGPT worked really hard anyway to answer our question, and it confidently told us the numbers. We went to the help, and our help was like, I don't mean to be a pain, but these numbers don't make sense. And then we're like, oh yeah, of course. So for things like that, AI is good to use. You don't have to worry about it. There's no stakes involved. You can fix that really easy. If you're going to put a product out there and charge people money for it, you want to make sure that you 100% get that right. So however you go about doing that, it is very important that you do that. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Okay. Miriam says, you have mentioned the language barrier, but didn't talk about it deeply. So do you think not knowing English enough is a big barrier in this journey? Judging by that one comment, I got no issues with your English. That looks pretty good to me. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Again, I will use my wife as an example. My wife is from Romania. She came to the United States, but she was raised in Romania. She's actually lived in LA longer than I have. But even though her language isn't as perfect as a native speaker's would be, by the way, it hasn't stopped her from being very successful in what she's done in her life. So here's the thing. If you have a solution, people care less about the language you use. They care more about the solution that you provide. And again, I'm a broken record here, so call me Jason Broken Record Fladland. So put that in the quotes in the middle here. Broken record being that the AI will smooth that out. You want to know what one of my favorite things about AI is? And this is silly. This is so silly. It's silly for the same reason that if I save $10 on an everyday purchase, I get excited. But if I save like $10,000 on a major purchase, I'm like, meh, whatever, right? Like it's the little things in life that get me going sometimes. I write a lot of marketing material for clients, and they pay me a lot of money to write it. And to me, one of the things that frustrated me the most was the proofreading. The grammatical and the spelling errors and all that kind of stuff. But not an issue anymore. And I know that probably doesn't make much of a difference, but for me, I'd just be like, screw it. I would ship products for years that had spelling errors in them. Not because I didn't want to fix them, but because it annoyed me so much. And then I'd have to hire proofreaders, and they would proofread it. But I hired 6 people on my marketing team this year. Shout out to my copy cubs if you're listening. They were the ones helping me track these questions that I have right now, right here. A majority of them, English is not their first language. and we work on projects together that print millions of dollars. So the only language you need to know is the language of money. And that is more important than any other language. And again, AI can help with that. Iman, my friend, I was missing you.
What up? How's things? Sorry,
Good.
Sorry to leave you for so long. Been trying to figure out this. I saw you got some of the goodies out. These are meant for the Monetized Mania winners.
Whoops.
Okay, quick update. Here is where we're at. We're still fighting with WhatsApp and the WhatsApp API and all the group loading, everything that Luis explained. So what we've done now is if you go click on that link, you should be able to at least input your information. So that way we have your phone number and your email. So listen, I would feel terrible if just because of this technical issue, a bunch of people got the 15-minute head start over you. So at least that way we'll email you. So that way, if you're still interested and you still want to be on the wait list, because all the systems have just gone down because of a full overload. So if you want to be on the wait list, at least that way we have your email, and then we're also going to email you a link to join the WhatsApp when basically the backlog hopefully clears up. So yeah, let's get you some more questions, and then we'll pop the password soon enough. I mean, man, that's crazy. 32,000 people still on.
Yeah, we got some dedicated folks here tonight. Awesome. I love it.
Also, I'm just curious, where the VIPs at? I want to know if some of the VIPs are still in here. VIPs, you know how we do it. You know how we do it. Let's see some VIP love.
Dang, I love that. Yeah.
VIP 0.44.
I like that right here. Yeah.
0.44. There we go. VIPs, man, absolute superstars. Love it. Still here. All right. Rujana, Iman, I missed you a lot. I miss you too. Apologies. These things are absolutely wild when you get as many registrants as we have. I was looking at the number as it currently stands right now. One sec. Liquor Studio is pulling up. Anyways, let's get back into Q&As. I'll find this number once it comes up.
Yeah, I have one for you here, Iman. It says, how to get rid of the comfort zone from Islamic Shorts. What a great name. Y'all need to use your names more so I could call it out better.
All right, so we have
hold on, how many?
981,000 leads.
Dang.
Yeah, that's wild.
981,598, I think it said.
981,000, and then VIPs we have 18,466 VIPs. I don't know if that'll autofocus. No. Yeah, okay. You can see it there.
Hopefully you can see that.
981,596 people registered to the event. 18,466. So yeah, absolutely wild. Anyway, sorry, you were saying?
Well, I mean, it's a good point too, is a lot of winning is in the showing up. So a lot of people will have an intention to maybe come, and then out of that, only a percentage will come. And I mean, we try really hard because we spend good money to get attention, and then only a percentage of them will stay. Well, sorry.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, as you said, out of 1 million people or whatever, 980,000 that registered. We've been jamming for 2.5 hours. I know we had that 1 hour VIP session beforehand. And listen, we don't take it lightly, the amount of effort and the energy that you guys are showing up and the commitment to be here. But yeah, it is crazy. Out of 1 million, still only 30,000 here live with us. So, yeah. But that's a testament to you guys. I hope you guys understand that shows a lot about you and shows a lot about your character.
Yeah, and should be something you should model. Don't do it for the people who don't show up. Do it for the people who will show up. So if 9 out of 10 people don't show up, be grateful for the 1 out of 10 that do, because that's an attempt that you can give of service. And so if you get 100 that you invite, you only get 10 to say yes. It won't take long to turn that into a major win. So how to get rid of the comfort zone?
How to get rid of the comfort zone? Listen, we all have a comfort zone, right? And I think that's the other thing. I need you to understand that Jason and I, there's certain domains that we go into. Like, I'll give you an example. I did a pottery class a month ago, right? Nice. I did a pottery class. My dear old assistant, Amara, and one of my best childhood friends, I'm sure many of you guys know Amara, she convinced me to do a pottery class. And I was like, you know what? I've been working so hard recently actually putting together all these presentations. Maybe it would be good to just take something off my mind. That's a situation where I'm out of my comfort zone. You're not a person that is you're not a person that is just always out of their comfort zone. You have to push yourself, okay? And you have to be a person that identifies as someone who enjoys stepping out of their comfort zone. And by the way, that's actually something, like I'm actually, funnily enough, a creature of habit. So I even have to force myself. And that's why I took the pottery class. I know this sounds funny. I know this is like a random example, but that's something where I also have to remind myself, like if I'm comfortable, like for me, comfort is the number one indication that I'm not living, I'm not experiencing. Like life, I actually have grown to love that feeling where I'm like, wow, I feel so out of my depths. Like to me, that's the moment, or at least these days, that's the moment where I'm like, I am alive. I am so alive, and I'm like, this is, I'm truly experiencing the fabric of life more intimately than anything else. And I'm truly at a point right now where I'm experiencing the highs and the lows. And to me, stepping out of your comfort zone, as I said, is something where it's not something that you are, it's something that you have to continuously do. And you have to identify as a person that's willing to step out of their comfort zone. And that's really where the growth happens. And I can tell you, by the way, I've seen many multi-millionaires get in their comfort zone and not be multi-millionaires, in a short while thereafter. So just understand that it's, as long as you are a person that brings themselves outside their comfort zone, it doesn't matter what position you start at, because even people who are much farther ahead of you, if they're not willing to step out of their comfort zone, you can eclipse them very, very easily. And I've seen that happen many a time.
Yeah, AI's putting a lot of people out of a comfort zone that they're not willing to embrace. So they're staying in their comfort zone, and they will be tomorrow's losers. And some of y'all are going to be tomorrow's winners and replace them, because it's crazy how things can change. And with disruptive technology.
I mean, just imagine all of the people. Imagine this, if we were doing this 20 years ago, all right? If we were doing this 20 years ago, the year is 2005, and no one wants to figure out how the internet works. Okay, no one wants to figure out how the internet works, and everyone wants to stay in their comfort bubble, and people want to stay complacent. Like, this is just that, reliving it. Like, to me, sometimes I think, and I guess
I was there in 2005. I was there.
You experienced it. Like, to me, I guess this is exciting because I never got to experience the like internet era by the time that, or I experienced it by the time I kind of, by the time that I was already old enough to be sort of in the workforce and entrepreneurial and whatnot. By then, tons of people knew what the internet was. Like I didn't really have a competitive advantage. I didn't have a competitive edge. But you, for example, you sold your first digital product, what, 2007?
2007, and I was building my music website and marketing my music in 2004. That's when I formed my first company, was in 2004. And it was purely online. And I'll tell you, man, the grass ain't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it, because we had to work way harder for less. And we had to figure things out. So there's a saying that pioneers come home full of arrows, right? So guys like you, Iman, you get a benefit from the trail that we had to lay brick by brick. Like I started a YouTube channel in 2005 and I was like, this YouTube stuff sucks. What a fad. And then I never touched it again. And look at me now with my whopping 25,000 subscribers on YouTube, right? Like I was too early. But to me, it was, I don't know, it's going to be uncomfortable no matter what you do. Being poor is more uncomfortable than being rich is. So you just got to compare the two levels of discomfort. And then this is such a cheesy thing, but I don't know if you ever seen the Will Smith. He got clowned on hard this year because he did these freestyle raps and everybody's just firing. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, shut it off, because he goes, I bite off more than I can chew and then I chew it. It's like the cringiest shit you've ever seen in your life, right? Don't get too outside of your comfort zone. Sometimes you just need to go outside a little bit, and then if you do that, that becomes your new comfort zone. So the easiest way to really grow your comfort zone is not with massive leaps. It's with tiny steps repeated each and every single day. And I mean, that's what you did, Iman. Like, let's run it back. Let's look at some of your first YouTube videos. But you didn't, I bet you it felt more exciting to put that stuff out there than it felt uncomfortable. Is that fair to say?
100%. The uncomfortableness is exciting because you know you're growing.
So if you have something that's so attractive to you that pulls you forward, then you will not remember to be uncomfortable. And so I think that's something that you're going to find. And the AI can sidestep a lot of this as well, because you don't have to be the one that is comfortable with the subject matter. You can offset that and use a tool that doesn't have feelings and emotions that get in the way sometimes. And then that could be the one that gets you out of it. for you and get you moving forward. And I mean, God, some of the things that we think were impossible 5 years ago, we now do second nature. They just become automatic. And by the way, pottery brand IMAN 2026 coming to you, right?
Yeah, and by the way, just on the topic of specialized AI tools, and we'll be discussing this a little bit more tomorrow. Like, it's crazy how many AI tools I use in every day throughout my life. I mean, as you know, like I take this presentation very seriously, and there's a lot to go through, and I'm trying my best to memorize it because I have so many slides. So even earlier today, I was taking a walk on the beach, and I was listening to a AI tool, an AI software company, to my own voice speaking. To my own voice speaking an hour-long presentation, hour and a half-long presentation, and I was listening to my own AI voice. And like, if you told me that 3 years ago, we're living in insane times. And that's why, when you have the right specialized AI tools that's specialized for the job in the same way, listen, if you're trying to, if you're trying to cut a tree down, yes, technically a butter knife can accomplish it. Technically, yes. I mean, technically a steak knife could accomplish it. Technically, what are some other things you can use to cut?
A nail file. You just file that thing down,
you can
right?
use a nail file. But okay, what's going to work the best? An axe. Now, here's on the flip side, the steak that our chef made us earlier today. Using an axe for a steak doesn't really make sense, does it? So you want to use the right tool for the right thing.
Hell yeah. I had the cauliflower steak, though, because shout out to all you vegetarians out there.
This is true.
By the way, when IMAN did this earlier, it blew my mind. Like, I made a note to do this myself in my business because, no joke, this is how serious and committed IMAN is he took this app, he showed it to me because we're like, how long is VIP going to do? And he pulls up the app and he shows it. At this speed, plays the video, the audio, it sounds just like you. And I'm like, whoa, this is cool. And then he goes, I'm going to go listen to this again. Because you mentioned earlier you'd listened to it multiple times. And I'm like, what does he mean? Did somebody record it for him? Did he record it himself? And then Iman went and he took a walk. And I'm like, this is brilliant. Because the best thinking that you'll ever get in your life is when you're doing something else and thinking is happening as an automatic byproduct. So walking is one of the most strategic things you can do to make money. And so Iman's out there rehearsing, listening, practicing, preparing, which goes to this next question right here. But he's using AI to help him do that. And I'm like, God, that's going to make me $1 million. Just what you did right there. Because I'm like, now I can have copywriters write stuff for me and other content producers instead of me having to go through it manually and polish it. This is more efficient and more effective. And that goes to this next question here. How can I be more prepared? So the project YouTube name says, can I ask you a question? What are the next steps we can make for us to be more prepared? What do you think about that?
Next steps to be more prepared. Listen, the fact that you're here in of itself, obviously, once again, big shout out to my VIPs. Let me see some VIP love in the comments. If you guys are here, VIPs, let me know. Who is VIP here? There we go. Anyways, all I'd say, VIP, of course, listen, you guys are... so this isn't actually
I
live,
saw
it's
that.
AI.
I saw that. Yeah, brilliant AI. It's so good. We broke the link intentionally with AI. Yeah.
All right, shout out VIPs. Yeah, so all my 0.44s, all the VIPs. Listen, obviously they're incredibly prepared, but it doesn't matter whether you go for the VIP experience, the normal experience, whatever it may be, right? Even if you have the free experience, and you first of all, fucking props to you, all right? Props to you. We're almost 3 hours in at this point. So even just staying here, and I said, maybe for 17 minutes you drift off and you're like, maybe I should click away this, that. And then Jason says something or I say something and you're like, okay, wow, that is actionable. And by the way, that's something that you can only get here. No one else can get, because once this ends, this is going to be clipped out and this will never be able to be seen again, all right? So number one, making sure that you stay on. I told you this before already, but I genuinely believe it's these like open-ended, informal, all this sort of stuff. Like this is really the stuff that, to me, this is where the magic happens. Of course, the main presentation, none of this makes sense until the main presentation, but a lot of this magic happens in the, the after hours, the unfiltered, these sort of talks, and especially tomorrow. Tomorrow we got some crazy guests. Obviously, you've done... at this point, over 250 million?
Yeah.
300 million? I mean...
It's over 300 now, but we quit counting. It gets too big, right?
Yeah, he's done over $300 million in digital products. I'm catching up. I've done, close to 100. And tomorrow we got another individual. He's done, 35, 40?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming on board. He's done 35.
All right. He's the day after tomorrow.
Day after?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, day after tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
on day 3, we got someone who literally went from pizza boy, and then the next 2 years made, almost 10 million from digital products. And since then has made 40, 50-ish. We got a bunch of other everyday people. I mean, he was an everyday person coming from pizza boy to the situation he was. But yeah, we have just tons and tons of people. Because I get it, you look at us and you're like, okay, cool, that's amazing that you guys have done it. Obviously, we've given many examples, but like seeing it live in person is a different story. So we got some amazing people coming in, some guest speakers. We have some people calling in, some people in person here in Dubai. It's incredible. But yeah, in terms of being prepared, last thing in terms of being prepared is obviously the workbook. I know a lot of you guys want the password for it. I will give the workbook very shortly. Now, once we give the workbook, we're going to end the live stream. So I don't want to end the live stream until everyone who's having the waitlist issue is sorted. So if anyone is having a waitlist issue, let me know, because as I said, I don't want to like do you guys dirty by ending the stream. So yeah, just let me know if you're having waitlist issues. If you're having waitlist issues, we'll stay on. As I said, I've got my tech team downstairs. It's working. Yes issues. I have a waitlist issue. Still, I can't join. Not working waitlist. I have a waitlist issue. Okay,
some
guys,
people are good and some people aren't. Yeah.
So anyways, all that to say,
most of them aren't actually. Now I'm looking.
Yeah. Okay. They are good.
Okay. Yeah, it goes back and forth.
It goes back and forth. All right, guys. We'll give it here probably the next 10 or 15 minutes. How long do you want to let it roll for?
Let's just make it, it's midnight our time in 12 minutes. Okay. So at the top of the hour, if it ain't fixed, then we'll just ship it out there and see what happens. Yeah. But if it gets done sooner, then we'll put it out there sooner. How about that?
Yeah, as I said, we will go ahead and try to solve it. Obviously, the other thing is, you guys are absolute superstars for staying on board. And as I said, I know you guys are very, very keen to get the password for the workbook, which Jason will provide. But also today was the warm up. Like tomorrow is the heavy hitting stuff. Day 3 is even heavier hitting stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there might be, especially if you're in VIP, we got 7 sessions. So I want to make sure that we're not, pace yourself, because it's definitely, this is going to be one incredible week.
Yeah, that's a great point, Iman. We have to lay foundation. Some people don't like it, and they're like, get to the point, get to the point, get to the point. But it's like, if I would have done that with my wife, then she would have slapped me. Like I had to lay the foundation first. I had to have her fall in love with me and charm her, and that took a while, right?
Well, what do you mean? Why? I thought everything was just meant to happen in practice, and you just snap your fingers. But aren't you reading the comments?
Yeah, I mean,
give it to us now.
I planted the tree yesterday. Why don't I get the fruit today, right? So,
how dare you be patient? What?
I mean, I'm the most patient person that there is. So what we have done is we have condensed between you a decade and me almost 2 decades into a presentation. So we can do it in one day, which is what we did today. So today is the foundation. Tomorrow we put the house on it. And then the day after that, we install the pool. And that's why we have a 3-day voyage. But yeah, some people, they need to know the answer before they know what question to ask. And no wonder they struggle still. And I say that with all the care and the love in the world. But because you're here with us, I don't put you in that group. You have laid a great foundation today. You know what's going to happen when you go to bed tonight? Things are going to change in your brain without you being even aware of it consciously. Because there's this saying, you never step in the same river twice, because both you and the river have changed in the meantime. So the person who wakes up tomorrow is not the same person who went to bed today. And that's in the positive ways, because your subconscious works in ways that keep you safe and empower you. And so if we give you new things for your subconscious to play around with and your conscious to go to work on, you will be better tomorrow, and it will be awesome. And you will see it if you are aware of it, because you can't look at the same thing again the same way you used to. And that was the big premise of today. And for some of you, that will be enough. You will actually be able to make major financial changes in your life because a switch was flipped on that was previously off. So that's really exciting. So expect that to happen, for it to show up. But then tomorrow we're going to get into the tactical. I'm a little bit nervous, actually, Iman, because there's a fine line that if you get too into the weeds, then people can't find their way home anymore, right? So it's like we got to give just enough parts so you can build the machine that can take you to where you want to go, but we can't overwhelm you. Otherwise, it's like IKEA furniture for me. Like, I don't know what goes into what, right? So we're going to give you the necessary amount of information so you can sink your teeth into it and know what to do step by step. So that's coming tomorrow. So today was the foundation, step by step. Tomorrow, that's the next thing. And then the last day, we throw some gasoline on it. We make the fire roar. A couple more questions that I want to run through here real quickly.
While you're doing that, let me go to an update from
cool.
the team.
Yeah. Biggest beginner mistake to avoid. This is a fantastic one. German Streibeck. By the way, shout out to Germany. Some of the best clients that I'm getting these days and some of the biggest conferences that I've ever spoke at in my life were in Germany for some reason. I don't know. The world is continuing to expand. It is now easier to sell things globally than it used to be to sell things locally. So if you don't take advantage of that, it will be hard to make excuses and hold that attitude at the same time. But German says, when building digital products with AI, what's the single biggest mistake beginners make that kills momentums, and how would you avoid it from day one? In my opinion, and what's great about this is there's no right or wrong answer. There's no black or white answer. It varies, but my experience has been people try to make the black belt product their first day in the dojo. So what they want to do is be the grand master without playing the game. So what you should consider doing, and we're going to make this case very strongly tomorrow, is find a very narrow product that would be impossible for you not to create something amazing with it. And that's how I started. I kept it very simple, very clean, very easy to understand. And so what we want to do is the easiest way to win is only play games that are in your favor. This is a strategic principle, Sun Tzu style stuff here, right? And so what we want to do is shrink your window of success so small that you can't be anything but successful. Or let me run it back the other way. We want to enlarge the bullseye so large that you could be half blind and half drunk and throw something at it and hit it. And so we do that by being narrow and focused with our products digitally initially. And then when that works, we expand upon them and we broaden the horizon a little bit of who we reach next. And then we broaden it a little bit more. And then we broaden it a little bit more. And I think that's the biggest mistake beginners make. Another big mistake is they compare themselves to successful people that are not beginners. So if you take a pro and you compare your beginner self to a professional, you will feel terrible and you will feel so insecure and so inferior that it only makes sense that you would then do nothing. Tell me if that's ever happened to you. Has that been the case? Congratulations, you're a human being. Welcome to the race. Welcome to the planet, right? That is every single one of us that if we run that program, that is the result of that program. You feel me? So if you're a beginner, don't compare yourself to pros. Compare yourself to other successful beginners who are merely a step or two ahead of you. Compare yourself to people that were just like you recently and now have momentum and now have some success. We will show some of those to you tomorrow. That's why we do it, because they are more like you than unlike you. They are similar to you in almost every way, shape, or form. They just did one or two things slightly differently, and that got a majorly different result. And so a beginner, a big mistake they do is compare themselves to a pro, and then no wonder they don't feel good, and then they don't take action. So find beginners who just started winning. You should watch the pros, because the pros drop gems. The pros have insights. The pros can correct things that would be hard for you to correct yourself. You should model beginners, though. We will give you the model tomorrow. That's a fantastic question. Can I do this from any place? You can do this from anywhere except for Antarctica. I kid, because you can even do this in Antarctica as long as you have an internet connection, and not even necessarily a stable one, because back in my day at France, the south of France at the beginning of the year, by the way, when IMAN and I made this deal to do the co-host in May for Monetize, I was like, cool, that's not that long of a flight. I'll just fly from Nice. And then I went back to LA and I was like, okay, never mind. But in the south of France, we had terrible internet. It was down more than it was up. And I'm like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll get that Elon Musk Starlink style internet. And that was terrible as well. I had to run my business from my youngest daughter's room, and her closet basically was the strongest point of the internet. And I ran a multi-million-dollar business in that way, shape, or form. So you don't even need consistent internet. You just need some internet some of the time. You can do this from any place physically. Now, mentally, that's a different game. That's why we break this down and we add the mental to the physical location. How do I convince my parents? So my parents are, 60, late 50s and mid 60s. So it's easy for me to convince them. I don't have to ask them that. So if you are younger and your parents have to sign off on the decisions you make and or finance them and or approve of them, then those are different dynamics. And I don't have the answer to that. I don't necessarily recommend, as a father with 3 children, I don't necessarily recommend that you go against what they want for you. But you can do yourself a favor of trying to understand it from their perspective and then see how your values can align. And that's one of the most empowering ways that I would suggest for you to do that. You look like you got it figured out.
Yes,
Okay.
we have an update.
Yes.
Okay, so by tacking on a really old school piece of software, I never in a million years would have imagined that we would have to use this tacked onto the other super advanced, super expensive stuff we use. I think we fixed it. So let me know in the chat if you guys are having issues, just because I made it in, link is working, everyone is in. Yes, okay, perfect, link works. So hopefully I think it works. All I can say is, wow, we have done quite a few of these in the past. I probably should have guessed from almost 1 million registrants. I'm not just saying this, I think you're seeing it in real time. If you manage to get in tomorrow, count your lucky stars. If you're part of that 888, props to you. I've never seen anything like this in my entire career. So yeah, I'm glad we managed to make it work. I know you want to go for another 5 hours, but as I said,
I got to pace myself too.
We got plenty of days here, and yeah, listen, first things first, I want you guys all to go through workbooks. First of all, VIPs. I still know there's a bunch of VIPs in here. Once again, let me know who's VIP. I just love seeing the VIPs. Yeah. I fucking love my VIPs.
God, when you called earlier the winner, remember that? He was more excited that he was talking to you than winning a prize. It was awesome.
Wait, I don't think we actually told them. Just so you guys understand, we have all of these MacBooks right here. So we have 7. It's hard for you guys to see.
We're running an Apple store over here practically.
Yeah, basically. We have all these MacBooks, 7 of them, all stacked up.
Hell yeah.
So we have 7 of these that we're giving every single day away to VIPs. This is good. I hope the table doesn't break. What's that, 5?
Yep.
2 more.
2 more. 7 for 7 VIP days.
There we
Dang.
go.
Good thing we're both tall.
So, as I said, we're giving away 7 of these to our VIPs. So we called one of our VIPs earlier and informed them. And yeah, bro, it's so crazy. He was honestly, as you said, more excited than just to be acknowledged. And he's like, yo, I'm just loving the VIP experience so much. So anyways, the reason I say all this stuff is, we're giving away all this stuff, but for you guys, also, by the way, a lot of people are saying, oh, is it too late to be a VIP? No, not at all. We'll put in the WhatsApp group a link to upgrade to VIP, because VIPs get an extra 6 sessions, and you'll get the tool. So basically, we custom coded a tool called Alchemy of Self. It was also, some of that stuff was derived from, let's say, something I had to pay a very, very large 7-figure check for, which I'll reveal tomorrow. But anyways, all that to say, VIPs got Alchemy of Self, that tool and that software. So yeah, you guys need to do that. I know for you guys need to go through the workbook. I also know that a lot of you guys still need to join the waitlist and get that figured out. So point is, there's a lot of stuff to go through. There's I get it, and we have a lot of time together. So
Nice.
Should we give him the
yeah, Tristan, could you put up on the screen the slide with the workbook and everything on it?
Do you have the password on there? Oy.
I think we have it on there. I was looking at it earlier. We brought the whole team in there. We got Luis on the camera earlier. All right, should be.
Tristan's pulling it up now.
He's pulling it up. I can see it on our screen. Yeah, perfect. Here we go.
All right. ladies and gents, today's workbook password is WAVE. All right, all caps, WAVE. All right, there we go.
Yeah,
that is your workbook password. And yeah, once again, just absolute fucking shout out to all you guys. Some people are also saying if I don't have money for VIP, just one thing just to bear in mind, like we literally, it's 100% risk free. Try for 7 days. Like it's a 7 day, no questions asked, money back guarantee. So, I mean, the 7 extra VIP sessions. Also, you'll be able to see the VIP recording for today's session. The 7 MacBook Pros we're giving away. We're doing 7 FaceTimes. Like literally right after this, I'm about to go call one of the VIPs. So we're doing 7 FaceTimes, one every single day. And also one of the VIPs, I'm going to be flying out to Dubai. All expenses paid. And yeah, we're going to have a business dinner, chat business, and give you a roadmap for the next 12 months. So yeah, shout out to all the VIPs. And obviously, VIPs get priority for absolutely everything that we do, including the wait list. So if you've been struggling with the wait list, as I said, I can tell you tomorrow, if you manage to be a part of the early birds, the people that get a 15-minute head start, congratulations. Because like, I'm just praying tomorrow things don't break, because I feel, I feel terrible for you guys, for the you guys that want to advance and move forward. And then in terms of the workbook, I think the workbook team should be sending that in the WhatsApp shortly. So you'll have the password and along with the workbook. And yeah, lots of love, guys. Love all you guys. Fucking, you guys are absolute badass. Like the fact that we have 28,000, yeah. 28,000, 3 hours after going live. Yeah, really, truly, like you guys are fucking superstars. Love all you guys. Cannot wait to see all you guys tomorrow. I'm just going to shout some of you guys. Andrew, McKaylee, thank you, brother. Anna, shout out to you. Romina, shout out to you, VIP. Anshul, shout out to you. Wes, peace, shout out to you. Brian, shout out to you. Aaron, shout out to you. Peter, VIP, shout out to you. Penelope, shout out to you. Darko, VIP, shout out to you. Maribel, shout out to you. Kate, shout out to you. Listen, I fucking love all you guys. Appreciate all you guys. And yeah, we'll send over everything inside the WhatsApp group. All right, shout out to me, shout out to you. All right, lots of love, guys. See you.
Bye.